You can tell about the pool hall, you can tell about the store. This poor boy's left a small town and he won't be back no more. Off to seek my fortune, right now I'm on a roll. Believers always have the sunshine warming up their souls. Just say that I've gone to show them all I can play the game.
Well, that is Sugarcane Jane doing the song. The game, I'm going to put the link in there. Hang on. I can hear myself. Hang on. That is... well, hell, what's happening now, Jaffe? You know what? Fuck you all. That is Sugarcane Jane doing the song. The game, I will put the link in the Cockadoodie chat there for you if you're interested in that. That is All in the Family. That is my brother-in-law's brother and his wife, Sugarcane Jane. I'll tell you what about those folks. They are crazy conservative to the point that I don't agree with about 98% of what comes out of their mouths, but they sure do make great music and they're good people. And hopefully you'll give them a listen. They're really, really good. Welcome to Gabbin' and Games for Wednesday. It's some kind of date. What is today? The 2nd of March. Think about that. The 2nd of goddamn Cockadoodie March. Hang on, let me get my hat working. You could have one of these snazzy hats too. If you head on over to the link tree and get yourself a Sweet Tooth ice cream treats, cat. Not untrue. So it's the 2nd of March. We're roaring into spring. Let me tell you a little story. By the way, I am on the Discord. If you want to call in and talk live, we can do that. Fuck you, Alex Block. You're driving me goddamn crazy. Make me think it's the 29th. I got a bill due on the 29th. Okay, listen to me. So I had a dream last night. I've been dreaming a lot. Well, I think we dream all the time. But I had a dream last night, and I've been remembering my dreams a lot the last couple weeks. Usually that's your brain, it's like it's working with you. You're trying to figure something out. You're trying to work through some shit. I'm going to take these off until somebody calls in because I don't need them. And I'll tell you, last night what I remember I dreamt was I was going to Japan for some kind of video game hootenanny, and I was with a lot of the Sony folks. And who was there? Scott Rohde was there, and just a bunch of the people who are still at Sony and who had been at Sony back in the day. And the weirdest thing was, or the interesting part of the dream to me was that I didn't want to be there, and I couldn't relate to them, and I felt like, oh my God, just let me get out of this trip. I don't fit in with these people. And I realized, obviously, when I woke up, that was a dream about, I was unaware, and I'm still unaware that I have any unprocessed thoughts about no longer making games and being at Sony, but I have to imagine something's there in the basement, as Rocky Balboa says, because why would I be dreaming that? When I was a young adult, I used to dream all the time about Aladdin's Castle, which was the arcade I grew up in. I didn't grow up in an arcade, but that I played in as a kid and as a teenager, and it meant so much to me, and I would dream about it all the time. And then I don't know what happened in my life, but I suddenly stopped having that dream about that arcade. So I don't know. I think maybe what it is, I had heard that Warren Spector is coming back to games. He's co-founded a company. They announced it today, and I'd heard about it a couple days back. And he's going to be directing a new game. And I think maybe what it was I had spent some time taking a walk, and one of the things I was spending some real time on was thinking about how can he connect with today's gamers? Like, at what point does he say, I don't know what these motherfuckers want? I'm out of that generation, the majority of which buy games. That was probably what was on my mind. But yeah, I could not communicate with the Sony people. I felt like a total fraud. I had to get out of there. Now, I'll tell you something else really, really quickly. Speaking of PlayStation, I had a call today with PlayStation Productions. They called me to talk about the Twisted Metal television show. And we ended up talking for about 30, 40 minutes. It's a good conversation. As I've said before, I like those people over there. And at the end of the conversation, I says, I'm not going to tell you who I was talking to, but I says to the fella, can I leak any of this? Can I say any of this? And he says to me, well, that's part of what comes from being in the know, Jaffe. The reason you're in the know is that you can't leak it. So let me just fucking tell you what I will tell you, which is there is absolutely cool shit going down. And I'm not going to say anything, but I will tell you that there is cool shit going down at PlayStation Productions. And you will hear about it sooner than later. And you will be excited about it. I think I was excited about it when I heard it. I absolutely, we did talk a little bit about me and this guy I was talking about. It's like, let's do cameos in the show and let's get killed in the show in really gross ways. I don't know if that's going to actually happen, but we'll see. But it was a good conversation, and I just want to let you know that PlayStation Productions, they got their first hit with Uncharted, and now some of the stuff you're going to hear being announced pretty soon is pretty fucking excited. Spazbo says, if you didn't sign an NDA, tell us everything. I could tell you everything, but then I wouldn't ever have anything else to tell you. My hope is I don't piss them off, so that maybe I can, when I go on the set, they'll let me do some interviews and do a stream from there and shit like that. If I piss them off and tell you that Taylor Swift is in Twisted... Hey! They might not let me onto the Cock-a-Doodle set. And who wants that? Who wants that? Yeah, okay, you figured it out. Somebody in the chat says that they are making a Fat Princess movie. Yep, you got me. You got me. Okay, let's move on, though. Let's talk about the news of the day. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Rob the Mod is here modding our chat. It's always good to have Rob back. How you feeling, Robert the Modder? It's good to have you back, sir. We are going to talk about the video games. Let's talk about the war for a minute as it relates to video games. So you may have heard this. A couple things are happening because of Ukraine being invaded by moronic Putin. As it relates to our games. The first one is, obviously games, this is a terrible thing to say game. Well, fuck it. We'll do Ukraine first and I'll tell you some stuff. Okay, Ukraine. Let me go to Ukraine. The Deputy Prime Minister, Fedorov, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, of Ukraine, is urging gaming companies like Microsoft and Sony. This is a story from Polygon, but I'll read you his tweet. He actually tweeted out. He's urging companies like Microsoft and Sony to temporarily pull out of Russian markets and block Russian accounts. So if you're in Russia and you play on the PSN, according to this guy, what he'd like to see is not anymore. If you got yourself a little Game Pass account, you're enjoying it, you're sitting there playing some of the newest games, day one drops. If you're in Russia, not anymore. The Deputy Prime Minister specifically called on Microsoft and Sony to bar players on their Xbox and PlayStation platforms. He says this, quote, "You are definitely aware of what is happening in Ukraine right now." He's talking to the Sony and Xbox folks. "If you support human values, you should leave the Russian market." Now, a lot of companies have already done this. Some esport companies have done it. Some Apple has done it. But I don't think, and some game developers have done it, and game developers have also been donating cash to Ukraine, to the Red Cross and things like that. But I don't think any major gaming company has said, we're not going to push our wares over there. Why not Nintendo, Mr. Sarcastic says. I don't know. Maybe the guy's like, I'm a grown-ass man. I don't know what Nintendo is. I have no idea. The Deputy Prime Minister, here's his actual, you can see his letter. He says, and if you look at the chat, or if you look at your screen, if you don't have it, I'm showing the actual tweet from the guy. What's weird about all these people in the political party of the Ukraine, my kids make fun of me when I say the Ukraine, they are really young. This guy looks like he's like 29 years old or something. But this is the actual tweet he sent out and added PlayStation and Xbox. They weren't one of 50 companies. It was just PlayStation and Xbox. So clearly he's a gamer, which is cool. The Russian Federation has carried out a deceptive and outrageous military attack on my country. He says, just imagine, in 2022, cruise missiles attack residential neighborhoods, kindergartens, hospitals in the heart of Europe. The armed forces and citizens are defending the country. I appeal to you to temporarily block all Russian and Belarusian accounts, temporarily stop the participation of Russia and Belarusian teams and gamers in all esports events, and cancel all events in the territory of Russia and Belarus. Now, related to that, here's his tweet right there. He actually signed it and everything. Now, look at this. EA today announces. Now, of course, I support all that. Abap says he wants Russians to switch to PC gaming. It's all been a big ruse. Putin's just like, PC master race. We have to get them off their consoles. Or maybe it's like Reggie is still working for Nintendo and he went over there and said, just fucking do this. I don't know. Here's the point. Right, and Zaf says, yeah, Warner Brothers is not releasing the Batman in Russia. Right, we'll talk about the Batman in just a little bit. It's interesting, though, that EA announced this morning that they're removing Russian teams from FIFA and NHL and I think a couple of other of their titles. NHL 22, FIFA 22, FIFA Online, FIFA Mobile. They've initiated processes, FIFA and UEFA, which I guess is an organization, and the hockey organization. They've all recently banned the teams from competitions until further notice. So I guess the games are doing the same. EA says they stand in solidarity with Ukrainian people. And like so many other voices across the world, football calls for peace and an end to the invasion of Ukraine. So the thing about this that's kind of neat and kind of awful is that I don't know how I feel about. I mean, on one hand, it's really cool if you're into the sport that EA and they've done this before. They did this when one of the sports teams changed its names. I forget who it was. That was like an offensive name for today's times. And then there was a coach or something that got found out to be a sexual offender. They got rid of him, and they are basically mirroring the league as is. So on one hand, it's like that's really fucking cool. That's really fucking cool. But on the other hand, it's kind of like, well, I don't know. I'm not a big historical video game preservation guy. I know a lot of people are like, what? How can you not? I'm fine with it. Yeah, of course, support it, but whatever. But it is a little weird that you buy a game and it's like, because this shit thing happened in real life, I'm going to take some characters out of the game. It just seems there's something about it I don't like, but certainly anything and everything that can be done to push Russia. And again, this is really more about pushing the Russian citizens to continue to start to go, hey, go fuck yourself, Putin. We want no part of this. And it's starting to sound like the military in Russia wants no part of it either. Zav says, punishing the Russian people because their government is messed up. I get freezing the assets, but now Russian citizens are suffering. That's the only way it works, Zav. It sucks, but what do you think sanctions are? That's the absolute only way it's going to work. If if you're like, oh, we'll get you, Putin. He's like, dude, I got so much fucking money. I got so much fucking back channel bullshit that I can get taken care of. You're not going to fucking freeze me out and I won't have any food to eat. I mean, within reason. But you start making the people angry and you start making the people, which they already are, that's what this is about. And, I mean, what are you going to do? I think it makes sense. I don't think anybody's thinking that this is going to be, EA is going to be blamed. It's going to be like, yeah, get this fucker out of here. I got to read this because the dude keeps posting it. Jaffe, only last year, Ukraine had a public march in honor of the Nazis. Do you not find it weird none of that side of Ukraine and its people was ever mentioned in Western media? Well, I don't know if it was never mentioned in Western media, but hell, last year we probably had about 4 or 5 public marches in honor of the Nazis. That's what we do in a free country. We let idiots with their idiotic ideas express those ideas. And I don't think all of those were covered in Western media. Some were. So why would I expect one from the Ukraine? I mean, what are you suggesting, that Ukraine is filled with Nazis? I guess, but I haven't. That seems like a lot of propaganda to me. And even if it is filled with Nazis, they're not doing anything. Let them be Nazis. I don't give a fuck as long as they don't hurt anybody. But Putin's killing civilians. Who gives a shit? It's not like the CIA has been banging the drum going, fellas, we got Nazis in America we got to worry about. Nobody's worried about the goddamn Nazis over in Ukraine. Bacon comes in with his Rachel Maddow level of analysis. He says, it seems people are hate bandwagoning and cyberbullying Russia and Putin for nothing. Oh, it seems like he's just misunderstood. I know, Bacon. It's bad. Why are the chats not appearing? Hang on. I don't like this. They appear here. They appear there. Why aren't they appearing on the big screen? Let me get this fixed for us, because I'm not a fan when it don't work. That's why it's not working, because it's way over there. Bacon Magma ran away. All right. But yeah, so, anyway, and Ukraine is having Nazi propaganda is from Putin. Yeah, that's what I assume. But, whatever. At the end of the day, let them be Nazis. Let them be the worst people in the world. As long as they're staying put, not hurting anybody, what do I care? Eternal, are you saying that's the most tone-deaf take I've ever heard? My take is tone-deaf? Or are you saying someone else's take in the chat is tone-deaf? I'm assuming if you want me to see it, you'll put @David Jaffe, because I'm going, you really think, what? You think Putin's telling the truth about the Nazis? Come on now. If Greece invaded the Ukraine, would you remove Zeus from God of War? Well, Zeus was in my God of War, not for a lot. I wouldn't. Jacob Martin says, Jaffe, can you at least confirm Sweet Tooth will be in the new Twisted Metal game? I don't know if there's a new Twisted Metal game. My assumption is if there is, of course. Bacon. Oh, well, Bacon Magma. Bacon Magma gets, like, his mother lets him, go down south on her as long as he, makes a joke or two in the chat. So he's got one visit at least for tonight. Putin is a despot. Speaking of pots, I encountered my favorite character in Elden Ring, which is the pot that talks to you. I love that guy. I want a little figure of that guy right behind me. He's just the pot, and he's got a British accent, and he's charming, and I like that character a lot. I was worried I'd have to fight him, and I might have to. I don't know. Things change in life. That pot may become my biggest nemesis, but right now, I'm a fan. Jaffe says CR3D, U.S. should stay out of it. We have enough issues. You don't clean someone's house when your house is in shambles. What? Nobody is saying we're going over there to help Ukraine fight Russia. there would be a number of factors or a number of events that would have to occur where I would say that is a good idea. But I think what we're doing right now, and I think there's more we can do to help, I think it's a good idea. Especially if Putin is not going to stop with Ukraine. If he's going to suddenly just start spreading out because no one's stopping him. Let's not get into politics right now. Let's talk about something much more important than politics, which is this. WWE 2K22. The only thing I want to bring up here is, oh my God. Now, I know not everybody's into the wrestling. That's not even the point. We're going to talk about development for a moment. There's 121 confirmed characters in this cockadoodie game. Now, I don't play a lot of these kind of games. I play the more arcadey wrestling games. I am going to get this one because I'm excited for it. But I think, I don't think the characters in the wrestling games are as advanced at all as something in like a Mortal Kombat 11. But I know they are unique in a lot of ways that are meaningful, even if they all kind of live within a class. They still have a handful of moves that are their own intros and all that shit. Just think about the scope of that. I remember when Street Fighter 2 hit the arcades, there was 8 motherfuckers. When Mortal Kombat hit the arcades, there was 8 motherfuckers. What? 121 characters that you can play in this game. I don't even know how that's possible. I don't even know how a team can create that much content unless this game is priced to the goddamn moon and back. I know it sells well. I didn't know it sold well enough to support this kind of budget. But that's pretty impressive. Somebody in the chat is saying, speaking of games, Jaffe, I read an article today that Sony's making a new Infamous game. That's from our friend Brandon. A new Infamous game is coming. It could come out this holiday. I've seen that rumor on NeoGAF where somebody in the know who has a pretty accurate record for leaks and whatnot said there is I think the title was like a beloved PlayStation classic or franchise that's coming and it's almost done, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you what, you do what you want with Infamous. I love the Sucker Punch. I love that studio. Ghost of Tsushima is one of the best games I've ever played. But Infamous sits next to Killzone and Resistance as a franchise that never quite connected. Like, I know it made its money and it has its fans, but Infamous is not Kratos. Infamous is not Joel and Ellie. Infamous is not Jin Sakai. It's, the character's generic. He's a dude wearing a beanie running around this. And there's just nothing about it that really is all that compelling at a high level. Now, maybe if you get into the lore and you've played all the games and whatever the small little DLC package was that they had, the Festival of Blood or whatever, perhaps you could talk my ear off about no, all of the lore is, and I'm sure that wouldn't surprise me because the developer's great. But I think when you look at franchises that kind of almost connected but didn't really, I don't know why you would jump back into that. I just make something new. Unless they're basically saying, hey, we're doing a remaster of Infamous. And then it's like most of the work is done. We have a team at Blue Point, blah, blah, blah. Then I get it. But if you're talking about a brand new game with new design, new characters, new mocap, all that shit, I don't think that makes any sense. Speaking of remasters, you guys have to have seen this. Look at your cockadoodie screen. Resident Evil, the remake, 2, 3, and 7 is not a remake. Get Series X, PS5, and PC launches this year, 2022. I have all of those games. I have not played RE3 because people, it got such a bad rap after 2 being so brilliant. But people say that, only in comparison to 2, it's still pretty good. But 7 is fucking awesome, and 2 remake or remaster, whatever, remake was fucking awesome. So they're going to add ray tracing, advanced frame support, 4K resolution. It says other cutting-edge visuals. Players who already have them on PS4, Xbox, and it sounds like PC too, will be able to get a free upgrade. The PS5 versions will make use of the DualShock controller haptics, it says. Furthermore, a patch bringing the same upgrades to PC will also be available. There you go, free to owners of that game. Let me show you the pictures. They didn't release many pictures, but here is Resident Evil 2 Remake. Now, again, the image quality isn't as good as what I'm about to show you. This was just somebody up on Google Image that posted him fighting one of the bosses. I think this was a boss. I know there was the eyeball guy boss in this area, but and so it's a little grainier and whatnot. But this is from the remake that came out about 2 years ago. Oh, it's a good point. Eternal says the Resident Evil games that will be free upgrades are really cheap on PlayStation right now if you don't already own them. Yeah, get them and then you can get a free upgrade. But this is a picture, and if you're listening, all I can tell you is it looks good. If you remember, hang on, let me move this up. Highlight live chat. I'm sorry, fellas, I should have moved that. If you remember the game, from a couple of years back, it was really good looking. It was a looker for sure. But here's the upgrade. Look at that. Right? I mean, again, this is a shot released from Capcom. It's perfectly lit. It's perfectly positioned, blah, blah, blah. But that's pretty cool, though. And I haven't played 7 since I finished it in VR. So I absolutely plan to play it on the upgrade. And I'll probably go back and play 2 as well, and 3. I love these games. I think they're fucking phenomenal. I love they're doing this. But it goes back to talking about Infamous. If this is what Infamous is going to be, or even Sly Cooper is going to be, then I think that's fucking awesome. Why not? Get out another game, get it out for the holidays. It's a solid game. It has its fans. You'll bring some new fans on. Who knows? You might even grow the franchise meaningfully. But I wouldn't spend a bunch of money thinking that franchise is gonna. It has legs. It probably doesn't. It probably doesn't. I played the hell out of RE2 Remake, says Zaf. Did just about everything, but we'll play it again with the upgrades. Yeah, it looks fucking great, man. Not that one. That one. Look at that. I'm assuming that's, I remember when we were working on games, even at Bartlett Jones, and obviously what we worked on at Bartlett Jones was so, was so basic visually. But I remember when we were working on it, there was a call from Sony of like, hey, make your textures at the highest resolution you can, even if they don't go in the game. Because I guess the thinking is, of course, that this is becoming more and more of the norm, is that all the assets get created at a much higher resolution now. And this has been going on for about 7 or 8 years, if I recall. But it's starting to pick up more steam that everything's, this isn't like, from 10 years ago. This is from a couple of years back. And now we have new hardware. They're like, hey, you want a refresh? Here you go. So I think it looks pretty good. I'm excited. Hip Hop Gamer is in the chat, fellas. The one and only Hip Hop Gamer. He says, yo, Jaffe, God bless. Much love, son. I should be headed to San Diego again soon. If so, I'll let you know so we can link up. I think that would be fantastic. Good sir. Everybody say hello to good sir Hip Hop Gamer. I hope you're well. I hope your family's well. I hope you're staying safe in the big bad world. Hip Hop Gamer. Good fella right there. Jamie Robertson says, Jaffe, I'm tuning in from Australia, mate. The world sucks at the moment with war, COVID, and I'm getting ready to evacuate because of bad floods along the East Coast. Happy gaming and stay safe. You as well, sir. You as well, sir. CR3D says, oh, great. RE Remake had horrendous SSR. I don't know what that is. RTX would fix the most glaring graphical flaws of an otherwise visually impressive game. SSR, don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. I hope Project Spartacus, says Brandon, brings the original Resident Evil games and Dino Crisis games. Those games are hard as hell. Yeah, we're supposed to hear something this month about Project Spartacus, so hopefully we'll see. We'll see what happens. Jaffe, how could you play a game and enjoy it while there's a war going on? I don't know if you're taking the piss or not, but this conversation has happened numerous times in the last couple weeks online and with people in my life. And I mean, it's not, it's kind of a trolley question, but it's not a bad question. Well, yeah, Matt DeMarco says there's always a war going on, and that's true. But unfortunately, that's true. But I think also, what are you going to do? unless you plan on booking a flight, which you can't anymore, but if you're planning to somehow sneak into sneak into Ukraine and fight, we've donated money. We've done that. I talk about it on the stream. I do that. I don't know what else would you have someone do? It doesn't occupy my thoughts 24/7. It doesn't. I'm not going to lie, but it does occupy my thoughts multiple times a day. Vivi says in Africa and the Middle East, there's always people killing each other. Yeah, it's true. Darth Nugget says, where's the concern for Yemen? Let's be clear. There's nothing, I don't want to get political. We're going to move on and talk about Gran Turismo. But all I can tell you is that, the media covers the media covers what's going to sell and get clicks. When the majority of people, at least in America, look like the people getting bombed, then the people in America pay more attention. Is that racist? Yeah, it's absolutely racist. Is it more of a result, though, of bad education where people, yes, because, people in America probably, I think they said like 80% of people in America couldn't tell you where Ukraine is. We're not a very smart country over here. We're not we might have some smarts of certain things, but we're not very educated country anymore. And so I think a lot of it is, people can have their buttons pushed by the media, and all the wars are important. But you can have your buttons pressed by the media because, like, hey, that looks like me. That looks like my kids. I can relate to that, Jaffe, are the upgrades in Resident Evil or full next-gen ports? I don't know. I don't know if you're buying the whole game again or you're just getting a patch to what you already have. I have no idea. It's not racism, says Brad, of course. There's been battling in the Middle East for centuries. It's not a threat to the globe. Ukraine is a legitimate thermonuclear intercontinental war possibility. There's no doubt. It is a potential bigger risk than say what might be happening in a pocket of Afghanistan right now. But I also think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, people are a little bit, and it's not, I wouldn't even say it's racist, like you're a mean guy and you hate white people, black people, brown people, whatever. I think it's just more a natural instinct to have more of a response to something that you can relate to is all. And again, think what you want. I don't care. That's what I think. Okay. Jacob says, I think I don't want to get into politics. Let's move on. Let's talk about Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo is now sitting at an 88 on Metacritic. It's pretty good. There's a lot of great reviews. There's like 4 or 5 mixed. Let me refresh. This was from this morning. Let's see if it's gone up or down. But this comes out Friday. I was going to play it, especially, I'd thought about, I should give it another chance now that I can finally, even though I know Forza Horizon's arcadier, maybe I would like this game. I didn't really care for the showcase on State of Play. And then the reviews are pretty great. Recommended 5 out of 5, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10s all over the place. But the more I read the reviews, it kind of feels like they talk a lot about how great it is as a racing game. But they say that there's a lot of rigmarole. There's a lot of just stuff laid on top of the racing game. So there's history lessons about car companies and car creation. You keep having to go to this cafe and there's a bunch of people talking and it's almost like a visual novel, it sounds like, from some of these reviews. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, this probably isn't for me. But if you're excited about this kind of game, people say it's a return to form of that title. Someone in the chat is asking about how it compares to Forza. Well, Forza Horizon 5 is sitting at a 91 or a 90. But Forza 6, the last Forza sim game, which is more direct comparison, is sitting at an 86. So it kind of just sort of I guess depends on which one you're talking about. But it's a little too much for me. Yeah, Mutant Mo says I love learning about car stuff. I'm not I guess they call them petrol heads. I'm not one of those guys. GT is a better series for you, says the Ogrenaut, if you're a big car guy, it seems. Forza is more the straight arcade racer. GT is the car enthusiast racer. Right, absolutely. Forza Horizon is Simcade, but Forza Motorsport is, my understanding is that's Simi. That's a direct 1v1 with Gran Turismo. So there you go. It's coming out. I was gonna get it, but I'm so deep into Elden Ring, and I'm so deep into Cyberpunk. Max Phillips, I'll bring you in just one moment, buddy. So I want to tell you about this. So there was a Brian East. First off, let's be clear. Brian East says it feels disingenuous. Why would a racing game get downrated because it comes with more content? Well, if you look at Metacritic, and if you go through this, there's a lot of hundreds, a bunch of 90s, and it kind of hangs out in the 90s and 80s, like low 90s, mid 80s. And even when you start reading the reviews that are in the low 90s and mid 80s, a lot of them are saying that there's a lot of grinding, the pacing is bad, there's too much talking and too much kind of superfluous stuff if you don't love that. In fact, here's one from PlaySense 85. Gran Turismo 7 is an interactive museum and encyclopedia where you can discover and learn a lot about cars. At the same time, it also provides you with an excellent racing experience. So the point is that the gameplay is amazing, but if you get kind of annoyed at all the fluff and filler, as good as that fluff and filler probably is, just buyer beware. That's all it's saying. It's not saying we hate it because of that. They're saying that's a weak point if you're not into that stuff. So let me bring in. I want to tell you real quick. I'll bring in a sec, Max. One of the things is they do rave about on this game is the DualSense controller, and we talked about this on the show last week when the patch dropped for Cyberpunk 2077, and there was an article. It might have been Kotaku. It was Kotaku or Polygon, I think, and they were raving about the DualSense. And I remember, and I've been playing it for about 4, 5, 6 hours at that point. I was like, I don't really get the big fucking deal. Well, over time, I thought this was really interesting. Over time, as I've played Cyberpunk, it has absolutely gotten super fucking awesome with the DualSense. The tricky part about it is, and I know this sounds weird, but it's like learning a new language. When you just pick it up and play it and you have all those raves going on in your head of like, it's amazing, the DualSense changes the game in this game. You're like, really? It just feels like it's rumbling. Because you haven't yet learned, your brain hasn't yet learned to associate what this rumble means, what that rumble means, what this intensity of haptics mean. But once you play Cyberpunk for about 5, 6, 7 hours, and I'm probably about 20 hours in now, and I'm loving it. Once you learn the language of the rumble and how the rumble applies to that game, you really do not want to be without it. Because it really starts to add immersion to the game. But at first I was like, what are these people talking about? But it really is, once you know what those rumbles mean, it's fucking awesome. And I hear that the DualSense on Gran Turismo is one of the strongest parts of the game, other than, of course, the racing and the graphics. I hope Elden Ring adds it. Elden Ring does it? It doesn't have rumble? I think it might. I don't even notice it in that game. Brian E. says there's a lot of nuance to the haptics. The DualSense is very customizable. Yeah, and again, I mean, I think when you're revving up a car, you're firing a certain gun, it really does start to give itself a lot more character and a sense of immersion. So give it a shot if you haven't yet. Take a look at it. Let me bring in Max Phillips. If you don't know, Max Phillips is the guy who actually caught what was the guy's name who killed Kennedy? He caught that guy, and he brought him to justice until he was shot. Max Phillips, it's Jaffe. How you doing? Maxwell. All right, well, Max, you're on. Jump in whenever you want to. Magic Circle says, yes, there is. Obviously, you didn't play Elden Ring if you say no. That's in terrible logic, sir. I'm playing the fuck out of Elden Ring. I adore Elden Ring, but I don't remember if it has DualSense, controls. I just don't. Lee Harvey Oswald. Max Phillips, what's up? Maxwell, where'd you go? All right, well, come on in, baby. All right, well, let's move on. Hello, Alan Rodriguez. Good to see you, sir. Nice of you to be here with us. I appreciate it. All right, well, Max, talk when you want. Let's move on to a new story. We're going to talk about. Well, I already talked about that. I was going to talk about Twisted Metal, the TV series, but we already talked about it. I was basically, which was. Hey, I had a call with these guys. It was really, really cool. I can't wait for you to find out what I found out. Let's talk about the Batman briefly, only as it relates to video games. You may have seen this. Some people are going to be upset about this. I mean, I think this is kind of interesting. Hang on. Did you know that AMC movie theaters will be charging more for a ticket price for the Batman when it opens? Now, they're the only theater in America that are doing this, but it opens this Friday. The cinema chain, this is from New York Post, is experimenting with variable pricing for films, meaning they want to charge more money for certain movies, presumably ones that have higher budgets, but that's the article just speculating. But they want to charge more. The CEO says, hey, this is quite novel in the United States, but actually AMC's been doing it for years in our European theaters. Yeah, that's why Putin attacked you, asshole. Indeed, in Europe, we charge a premium. 1 second, I'll get to you in a sec, Max. We charge a premium for the best seats in the house. So they don't only charge more for the movie, but they say, hey, you want to sit in the center of the motion picture show theater? That's not a problem, but you got to pay us more ducats. In America, here's what it's going to cost you. If you go to see the movie in LA, a normal movie like Uncharted will cost you $17 a ticket. But if you see the Batman, it'll cost you $26 a ticket. The thing that's interesting about this is people automatically knee-jerk and they say this is bad, but we've been doing this in video games now since we got digital downloads. You can pay $70 for Horizon, you can pay $60 for Elden Ring, or you can pay $19 for an indie game. Yeah, Bukaki says fuck that shit, but I mean, we do it in games. Why can't we do it in movies, man? Bukaki, by the way, I was going to open the show today with something from your band, but I couldn't find anything. I'm not even fucking with you. I looked up the Quitters. There's already a band called the Quitters, and it ain't you. So send me a link. I'll open it. Max Phillips, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. What's up?
Perfect. I wanted to share some unpopular opinions with you.
Go.
All right, so I have Elden Ring,
Mm-hmm.
I have Horizon, and I have Cyberpunk. By the way, I completely agree with you. Cyberpunk has been amazing, especially after the updates.
Yep.
It was unplayable before. I could not play the game for anything, but now I finally could play it, and I actually enjoy it.
What do you have it on? What system?
PS5.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm playing it on too. Okay, cool. Keep going. Sorry.
And I think Cyberpunk might be one of those games like The Witcher 3 where over time it's progressively going to get better. This is one of those few games where I actually really enjoy the storyline and the gameplay at the same time, which is very surprising to me. So
I do as well. I'm not a big story guy, but the story in this game, and as important, the performances. I don't know if you're playing the male version of V or the female. I'm playing the female version, and the voice actress is awesome, and all Jackie's voice acting is awesome. Like, there's so much in this game that now that it's kind of out and working, and hopefully people, I mean, on one hand you don't want to forgive them because what they did was kind of unforgivable, but when that goes away and you're left with just the product, it is pretty fucking great, man. I think it's a great fucking game. I'm excited they stuck with it and put out that patch. So what's unpopular? What's your unpopular take?
My unpopular take is that Horizon, even though the scores are lower than Elden Ring, I have dropped Elden Ring to play Horizon because Horizon is just the funner game. Now, that's just my opinion. I know a lot of people may disagree with me, but the gameplay in Horizon is just so much funner than Elden Ring. And as I got older, I'm 36 now, and as I got older, I do not have the patience to be searching an open world that basically has nothing in it. It's like so empty to me. I want to engage in action because I don't have that much time to play in general. So I want to go in and find some robots to kill. I don't like Aloy's storyline. I mean, I'm not a big fan of her, but the gameplay in that game is keeping me enticed, which made me drop Elden Ring for Horizon. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's interesting because I'm exactly the opposite, but I absolutely think the visuals in Horizon are, once you get to the open world, are amazing. I think the combat feels fucking awesome. I think their take on some tropey game mechanics like rappelling and sort of climbing adds a little bit to it. So, but the thing that interests me more about it is I've gone from being a kid obsessed with video games and playing all summer. I was tweeting out today about being a kid this summer and getting Elden Ring. Like, I remember I got Ultima 4 for when school ended, like one of my junior high years ended, and I brought the manual to school and the map, and I just couldn't wait to get out of school and play it all summer, which me and my friend from next door did. And I imagine the same with Elden Ring. When you're a certain age, I think Elden Ring speaks more to where you're at as a gamer. If you're 36, I don't know what your life is, but I was that way when my kids were smaller, when I didn't have as much free time, when I was working like crazy out of my home. I didn't appreciate games that were big and open and long because I'm like, I'm fucking busy, but I still want a game. So what I love about the comment, or what interests me about the comment, is how subjective an opinion about what is better or worse than something else in games can absolutely have nothing more to do than where you simply are in your life. Because I think they're both clearly incredibly well-made games. I don't like Aloy either, and I don't like her story either. And I thought the intro of Forbidden West was terrible. But that aside, though, I agree with you 100%. It's just that I have the time right now, and I have the energy and the focus right now, that I love getting lost in Elden Ring. I love exploring and discovering and reading the lore and all the item descriptions. But if I was me 10 years ago, I'd be like, fuck this bullshit. This is ridiculous. This game expects me to do this shit. So I'm with...
I am you 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. And I think it would do, we're going to talk about toxic fans in just a little bit, but it would do well, or people would do well, to sort of understand why some people like things and don't. Sometimes when they say, I don't think Elden Ring is fun, like you're saying, I don't think it's fun. That doesn't mean it's a bad game. It just means that what that game isn't appealing to you at this moment in your life. But, you know, there's no nuance in video game fandom. It's all, you're either an idiot or you're a hero.
Definitely.
I was gonna say, did you pass away? All right, man. Max, call back anytime, buddy. I appreciate your take on it.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks.
Anytime, buddy. There goes Maxwell Phillips into the evening. You got to play it more, says Eternal, talking about, I think, Horizon. The story gets more interesting and sci-fi focused. It has a lot of heart to it as she gets to know people better. I mean, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's great. And what I've played, like I said, I appreciate. But I think it's a terrible story. I think she's an incredibly dumb character. I just don't like her. I love open world games, says VV, but I want them to be real worlds and let me do interesting stuff. If it is a lame game, then open world will just be a world of lame. Well, sure. Legend says, of course, it's both games are great. It's just what you feel like playing at the time, or the way your life is laid out dictates your gaming habits. That's right, 100%. Jaffe says, Brian East, I have to ask, did you get to the first settlement in Horizon? Yeah, I went in after I climbed the spire and I went off into the Forbidden West, and I left the dude who wanted to go with me sleeping, and I went out and I took the big elevator down into the valley, and then I explored a little bit, and there was that big walled city, which I'm assuming is the first the first encampment or whatever. And after that, I was like, okay, look, Elden Ring's out. Cool. So that's kind of what happened. All right. But anyway, that's what's happening with AMC and the tickets. We will see. Jacob wants to know, are reviewers paid to review game types they like Souls fans playing Souls games and reviewing, or Horizon fans reviewing the sequel? I don't know. I've never been in that business. I have no idea. I would assume you're not going to put somebody who hates sports games on the new Madden, but I also would assume you're not going to put somebody who's a hardcore fanboy on a title if they have proven that they can't distance themselves from their own opinions and write objectively where one needs to write objectively. Now, sometimes, you could ask Colin, sometimes you want the subjective take. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the website Ain't It Cool News, but Harry Knowles, the way he wrote his reviews, it was both cool and embarrassing because he was just like, I'm telling you my life story. And it was all subjective about the movies he liked. And there are some reviewers, I think, that if that's their shtick and they make it clear, I think that's fine. But I think most people who look to a review as a guide to whether I should buy this or not, I think they have a bigger responsibility if they're getting paid for it. Let's talk about this. Do you see this today? Netflix. I don't know what the fuck Netflix is doing. It's not my job to know what they're doing. I'm just telling you that, it's weird. Netflix today paid 27 still. 27, no, I was right. $72 million to buy a studio in Finland called Next Games. Their claim to fame is like Stranger Things Puzzle Tales, The Walking Dead Our World, The Walking Dead No Man's Land. Apparently what made them excited was Netflix says they were attracted to their strong track record with mobile games based on entertainment franchises and solid operational capabilities. The weird thing about Netflix and their game thing is, and again, I mean, this is Netflix. They're not a bunch of fucking morons. They're smart people. They got a plan, and it's being run by a guy named Mike Verdu, who is the Tom Hanks of the video game industry. He is one of the nicest guys. You're never going to find anybody with a bad thing to say about good Sir Mike Verdu. So I don't think they're morons. But it is weird. I'm going to give you some stats they released regarding these games. I'll tell you what. Now, look, if Netflix came out and said, if Netflix was first mover on Wordle and they got the exclusive rights to Wordle on Netflix, then I understand. And maybe they're just like, look, you never know where a Wordle's going to come from. We're going to spread out a bunch of bets. But if you look at your screen right now, these are the stats from their current crop of games that you can play. I've never even seen a game tab on Netflix. Maybe it's there on the phone, but not the TV. Or the PC. I don't fucking know. But it's been out for 3 months. In November, they had the most number of downloads at a little over 3 million. And then every successive month, now in January, it's less than 1% of subscribers download games. And the games are just, Stranger Things, top-down kind of thing. There's a racing game. There's a bowling game. So I don't really know. Yeah, Bacon says it's on my phone. Have you ever played any of these games yet? And then Dylan B brings this up. Netflix has 1 or 2 interactive TV shows. They also release stats for that. Let me see if I have those up. I may not have the stats on, but let me tell you what they said. So the biggest success was obviously Bandersnatch, which was the first one. If you don't know what he's talking about, they've done a handful of their shows. They've done a Carmen Sandiego that's interactive. They've done Dartmere, which was Bandersnatch. They've done... is it Kimmy Schmidt, the Something Life of Kimmy Schmidt? And they're basically choose your own adventure Dragon's Lair games that you play over Netflix. And what was interesting is you get about the best selling ones barely break 60% of people who watch the show, but most do like 3%. So like Bandersnatch, I think was like 50%. So it was like 24 million people watch Bandersnatch, but only 12 million chose to play that particular game. So I mean, this is a bigger thing, and I'm not really prepped to talk about it other than to say, when Amy Hennig went to, even before she went to Skydance, is where I think she is now. I know her, and I think it was Tim Schafer were talking at DICE or something about her vision for making games more palpable and accessible to get more people in. And at the time, Bandersnatch was all the talk, and she was referencing that. And a lot of people were referencing that as, hey, maybe this is the way forward. But I think it's interesting, those figures, that if you look at Bandersnatch and you go, their biggest success still cut the audience in half. I think there's some point where people that make games just have to realize the average person doesn't want to play games like that. They either want to play a game and play Mario Kart, or they want to play on their phone. But I think what it shows is that most people, when they sit down in front of their TV, the interactivity isn't easy enough, isn't good enough, isn't AI driven enough yet, where it writes itself so that whatever you do, you're given a compelling experience like the holodeck. The AI is not good enough yet. So what you're left with is like, oh, I don't know what choice, and you feel a little overwhelmed, and well, do I have to go back and see what that choice caused this choice to do? And most people who aren't gamers just sort of walk away and say, I'm good. I'd rather just watch fucking TV at the end of the day. So I don't know if that kind of puts an end to it, but when you look at these figures, they're really anemic. They're not very good, so we'll see what happens. Look at this. Speaking of figures that are good, Valve has said we're about to ramp up after Q2. You're going to you're not going to be able to buy one day one necessarily regarding Steam Deck, which has gotten great reviews. You can't get one today. You got to put yourself in a queue and they'll get to you. But they're saying they're going to be making hundreds of thousands of them by the next month. And by Q2, you'll be able to say, I'm ordering a Steam Deck off of the Valve page, and I know it will be here in a month, which is pretty great if you're in the market for one of these. I don't really yet have a reason to want one. I think it's cool. I'd like to fuck around with one and play with one. But I don't really... The only time I use a portable is on the fucking toilet. That's the goddamn truth, is on the goddamn toilet. And then, maybe if I traveled like I used to when I went out to Utah, or maybe if I had like a commute on a bus or a subway, or if I'm going on a flight that's like 5 or 6 hours or more. But other than that, I don't really want to sit on the couch and play a PC game. I want to be in front of a big screen like I am now. But what is cool about it, though, is that it does serve as a entry-level gaming PC as well. So if you buy it for that, and it's inexpensive, and it is, comparatively speaking, you can hook it up to a monitor and keyboard, and that's your PC. So I think that's pretty fucking cool. Ty says, hello, Jaffe, just stopped in. I actually reserved a spot for the Stream Deck, going to be ready by April, unfortunately. Mutant Mo says, you don't like chilling on the couch and playing a handheld. I love it. No, I don't. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't really understand the value of it. When I can come either, if I'm on the couch, the TV's in front of me. If I'm at the office or at the desk, the big monitors are in front of me. I don't, the only time I do it is on the toilet, man. Is on the goddamn toilet. So, but anyway, if you're into this, the good news is these guys are one of the few hardware companies out there saying, we got you. We're upping production. I know they have hoops to jump through because of all the pipeline and shortages and things like that, but they're doing a good job of getting them out. So that's good news. Now, let me tell you, speaking of, I want to give you guys, I'm not doing ads. I want to give you guys some opportunities. So they're going to feel like ads, but hang tight because it's going to end with your ability to win some shit. But hang on. Rob the Mod says, I have it pre-ordered, but I've lost interest in it. Interesting. Why? What caused you to lose interest? I know there's the day one drift, but apparently that's been fixed. If the TV is occupied, a handheld is the best option ever. Legends, yes. If you have one TV and you don't PC game, sure. Absolutely. But if you PC game, you already have a monitor, the TV's never going to be occupied. Unless you play on the TV, you know what I mean? Okay. I want to tell you some things going on. The Leetist Podcast, which is one of our sponsors here, wants you to know that, and I will be on this episode, they are going to be doing another Family Feud episode. And if you're interested in having your opinion in the survey, when they say survey says, like on Family Feud, you can go to the link right now, that I'm putting up in the chat. And if I remember, I will also put it up in the video and the podcast about section. And you can fill out questions like, what is the best gamepad controller? What is the one thing you see in every video game? Name one character in the GTA series. Name something you might see in a FromSoft game, on and on and on. And I'm not going to fill it out because I'm not even going to look at these questions anymore, but I'm going to be on the show that they do this. So I highly recommend filling this out. The other thing I want you to know, another one of our sponsors, Day One Patch Kids, has sent, and it might be too dark to see, but they have sent a very nice care package. I fucked up the box. Don't worry, I'll get you a new box. What do we got in this care package? Here's how we're going to do it. We're giving this away on the show today. We got your, a Day One Patch Sweet Tooth T-shirt. We got a Day One Patch coffee mug. It's very nicely packed. That has, let's see who's on it. If you don't know Day One does all of the like Cabbage Patch Kids meet video games. We got a Norman Fetus from Death Stranding mug that'll go out to you. We got some Day One Patch Kid magnets, and we've got some stickers. All this will go out next Wednesday. If you win, how do you win? At the very end of the show today, we'll be playing one round of Mario Kart. Whoever wins the round, and if I win, we'll just move it to tomorrow. Whoever wins the round, as long as you're in America, I will mail this, or I'll have Jill mail this to you next Wednesday. So load up your Mario Karts, get ready, because when the show's over today, it's going to be part of this stream. We'll be broadcasting a Mario Kart. We'll probably do one track as a practice, and then we'll go. And then whoever wins it gets the goodies. They're like Garbage Pail Kids meet video game characters. They're very, very cool. They're very, very cool, as you can see here. I mean, if you're looking at your screen, you've got, I love them. Here's Cyberjunk 77. Obviously, there's a Sweet Tooth behind me. Oh, you sold your Switch. Jacob, sucks to be you, baby. This is not members only, Magic Circle. Anybody, as long as you're in America, hell, you can play if you're not in America. But I ain't sending you shit if you're not in America because it's too goddamn expensive. Let me bring in Shumbu. So load up Mario Kart. We'll be doing it in about 30 minutes. Shumbu of the Orlando Shumbus. What's up, baby?
Yes, or close enough. I want to talk about Elden Ring.
Okay.
Which I've been playing. So I feel like I should preface it by saying that I'm a huge, or at least I used to be a huge From Software fan.
Okay.
I've been in their games since like fucking Otogi on the Xbox, which I thought was great back in the day, even though it kind of...
Wait. Sorry, which game on the Xbox?
Otogi, I think.
Oh, yeah, of course. That was From Software. Okay.
It was like an action-y game. It was fun. I
okay.
liked it. So I loved Demon Souls back in the day. I'm not big on the remake, but that's whatever. So I've been playing all of these Souls games leading up to Elden Ring. And I feel like I'm going insane.
How come?
Because Elden Ring is like the most well-received out of all of them. And I think it's a fine game. It's very well made. But pretty much everything in it feels like I've seen it before in other From Software games. I don't think you've played the Dark Souls trilogy yet?
No, I've played Demon Souls and Bloodborne and then this.
Okay. I don't know if you plan to, but it's weird. Like, if you've played those games, there's a lot of stuff in Elden Ring that's like, I've seen this before. Oh, this is from Dark Souls 2. This is from Dark Souls 3.
Give me an example. Do you mean just kind of the kind of game it is genre-wise, or do you mean like literal, this weapon, this monster, this level design?
Level design, there's a lot of like, it feels like they're running out of ideas in a lot of areas. A lot of bosses, like, they feel like Dark Souls 3 bosses. They were like, I'm seeing specific attacks and I'm like, I swear I saw this exact thing in Dark Souls 3. And I'm just, I don't know, I feel weird about it.
Do you feel,
so much.
Does it make you feel dirty?
Well, I kinda.
Yeah,
I
me
don't
too.
know.
Well, here's what I'll say. I didn't click on it because it was right when we were going live, but there's an article some game site wrote today about, was George R.R. Martin, how involved was he? Is he just
I was thinking this exactly.
right? Was he just like a celebrity figurehead, kind of like he's not, he's more of a something to drum up sales, or was he meaningfully engaged? I don't know, and I don't know what that article will say. What I will tell you is, I have the benefit of not having played those games, so I don't notice it. But what I don't like about it so far is, especially coming directly off Bloodborne, that I thought was a fascinating world, and it was very cool and unique and different. To go to that, to go back to sort of just what so far feels very tropey, and maybe it changes, but it feels very sword and sorcery. Like it lacks a real point of view in terms of its world building. I like that it doesn't have a point of view that gets in the way of you as a player. Like, let me tell you my story. It's like, no, it's an open world game. You make your own story. But in Bloodborne, I felt like, what is this place? This just kind of feels like generic sword and sorcery stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Bloodborne is brilliant. I loved Bloodborne. And another thing is, Demon Souls is not a super hard. Well, it's challenging, but it's not like action game in the way that Bloodborne is.
Right.
It's a little slower.
Yeah.
And the bosses, like, the structure of Demon Souls is like you have five levels, and each has a boss at the end. Or there's 5 levels, and then there's 3 like smaller sub levels within. And each one has a boss at the end, and the 5 archdemons are all really creative and cool. I won't spoil them if anyone.
Yeah, no, they
all like puzzles and weird creative ideas.
This is a very ambitious game, and maybe they just decided. They said, look, here's what I wonder. I bring this up a lot because I just found it fascinating. Has nothing to do with games, but it has to do with what you're talking about, I think, maybe, which is the motivation of From Software. There was a documentary about Jay-Z, and he talked about, I mentioned this last week, where he talked about how his first few albums were very, I'm going to make whatever the fuck I want to make. And they were cult hits, but they weren't commercial hits. And then he said, I want to make a commercial hit, and the commercial attempt was a failure. And so he said the next album, he figured out how to sort of bring his own personality that made him unique to the record, but also keep one foot planted in, hey, I want to make some fucking money. So I kind of look at this game, and there's a lot that they're doing in Elden Ring that I do think makes it more welcoming, makes it more fun to play if you're not a From Software Souls convert already. And maybe this game for them is more about, let's put our energies into making it more palpable. Let's make it more playable. Let's make it less rough around the edges. So a lot more people can appreciate this kind of thing. Maybe that was their goal. Their goal was not to reinvent the conceptual wheel. I don't know that, but that theory might work.
I guess it is a little nitpicky because I have been playing the game for 40 hours, and I think it's really fun.
Me too.
I'm enjoying it a lot. But to me, Demon Souls, I would say Demon Souls is probably my favorite or second favorite game ever. I love Demon Souls.
Okay, what is your first? I'm curious.
God Hand.
Oh, okay. Haven't played it. Heard it's great.
It's great if you like games with shitty graphics but really fun gameplay.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I do, contrary to what certain people think these days. But yes, I hear you on that. The one thing I heard a few people say when it first came out, Elden Ring, is that I don't think the Demon Souls formula works in open world. And I didn't know whether I agreed or not.
I don't think I agree with that.
I don't agree with it now. I was on the fence for a couple of hours, and then when I realized, and I'm not usually an open world gamer, but when I realized what it brings to the experience in regards to the sense of immersion and freedom you have, and how it changes the cadence of leveling up. Like in I'm a big farmer in these games because I'm not very good. So in something like Bloodborne, I would just go, okay, now it's time to farm, and I would just redo the same area over and over and over and over. But in this game, even when I'm farming, I'm still exploring, I'm seeing new things, I'm discovering new things. it makes it less rote and less sterile, and it makes it still feel like you're on the adventure, putting the Souls formula in an open world. So I don't know, man. I'm a huge fan. I think it's fucking great. But I hear you on the thematics of it, and I hear you on the creativity of it. It certainly doesn't. It certainly wasn't what I thought after playing Bloodborne and then knowing George R.R. Martin. I was expecting kind of like titans to come together and build the next great intellectual property. But so far, I'm not getting that.
It is weird, the George R.R. Martin thing. It seems like he very conveniently, if he actually wrote it, or wrote the world of it, very conveniently wrote a world that is exactly like Dark Souls 1.
Right.
So I don't know if he knows what a video game is. He's like 80 years old.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, he's still a writer. I mean, my understanding is he wasn't involved at all in the design, which makes sense, but he did write the lore of the backstory in the world, and then From took that and built their game around it, which is fine, and that's a smart way to work, I think, development-wise. But I'm like, motherfucker, that's what you came up with?
Yeah.
The most generic shit I've ever fucking seen? But anyway, it is what it is. All right, buddy. I appreciate the call, Shumbu. Call back anytime, man. Enjoy the game.
Okay.
All right. See you, bud. There he goes off into the evening. One more quick thing on Steam Deck. My nemesis, Jeff Grubb, who's not really my nemesis. Maybe we'd get along, but he's kind of a dick to me. Says, hey, Steam Deck emulation is the shit. It can handle Persona 5. You can play on Steam Deck, which is no surprise, because it is a fucking PC, but he's like PS3, PS2, Xbox, GameCube. It plays Persona 5. I don't know if that's the PS version or if it's the Vita version. What they're emulating, I don't know if you can emulate PS4 games. You can emulate Steam games, Switch games on it. Although Nintendo has been taking down videos explaining how to do that because they're obviously understandably upset. But there is another reason if you're into the emulation scene. Apparently, it's quite the emulation device. So, but I don't really care about emulation. But okay, yeah, check out. I mean, I'm not going to show you his video right now. But I'll show you the article on the screen he wrote. He did a video, but he's just like. He's talking about all the games he's playing, but here's I guess his menu list of like Fire Emblem, Def Jam, Fight for New York, Kirby Air Ride. He's a big Frogger fan, it seems. Battalion Wars, Mario Kart Double Dash is on there. It's pretty fucking cool. Brett Moore, you did not miss the wheel. If you don't know what Brett's talking about, the wheel over there is for anybody who's a brand new member. You get to spin the wheel. You get to win a prize. Brett Moore hasn't spun it yet. We'll be spinning that in a little bit. If you're not a member yet, consider membership. Membership will actually make you get laid more. And more importantly, you'll get to spin the wheel. And there's all kinds of good, fun things you get being a member of Gabbin' Games, including all in the link tree down below. Click on it. You'll see what you get. There's a couple of tiers, but all the tiers let you spin the goddamn wheel. Okay, let's talk about Intellivision real quick. This is a fucking story and a goddamn half. There's a story and a goddamn half. So as you know, I think, because we talked about it the other day, Intellivision Amico, which is Tallarico's company, although he's not CEO at the moment or anymore, very family-friendly games, no online games, all couch co-op games. I've played it. I've been to the studio. There's some really compelling aspects to it. Tommy's a very ambitious guy. His heart, I think, is very much in the right place. But they have struggled mightily to get this thing shipped. Part of it's COVID. Part of it is Tommy Tallarico's never fucking launched a piece of hardware in his life. That's not a criticism of Tommy. It's just like it's fucking hard to do. And if you have no experience, I know he hired a bunch of people with experience, but, so they've struggled for whatever reason. Who the fuck knows? People say, oh, it's a con game. I don't think that's the case. Like I said, I've talked to Tommy. I've been down there. I've talked to the people. It's their heart's in it. They're trying to make this thing go. But that's what I know about it. But anyway, they were running out of money and they tried to get $5 million. They had I forget, it's not Kickstarter, but it's one of the ones that you buy in Start Engine. And you don't just get stuff like for your $20 or $1,000 or whatever, like a copy of the game and Amico and all that, but you also get shares in the company. And as of when they shut it down, which they did, they've only raised $58,000 out of the $5 million that they need. Tech journalist Sam Makchovich tweeted that he believes early closure is about as bright a red flag as it gets in the world of unreleased tech hardware. His guess, he says, is the investment momentum is frozen, and he writes in a very odd way. The gist of it is he thinks they're headed to bankruptcy, right? Because there's no fucking way this thing's going to fly. And then earlier today, the new CEO of Intellivision tweets this out. He says, I wanted to take a moment to provide an update and to extend my apologies. As you know, it was my goal. It doesn't matter. Here, let me give you I don't want to read you the rigmarole. Here's the point. This guy, Phil Adam, who's the new CEO of Intellivision, who my understanding is he was also involved in the attempt at getting ColecoVision update off the ground, which never really materialized, he says, hey, we can't talk about the new deal we have. It sounds like there might be a new investor who's come in, and he might, or they might, or it might, or she might save the whole fucking thing. And so that may be why they pulled their current kind of Kickstarter-esque plan. And now they're saying we're in negotiations, so we can't really talk about it. We have to go quiet. So, I mean, that, look, man, Tommy has been pitching this thing up and down the goddamn world for a long time. And there are people who have bought in. It can be a compelling proposition. And it's possible that this is either like we are so fucked and within 2 days this thing's going to be dead, or this is a real savior investor coming in and sees what Tommy sees in this and what I kind of sort of maybe see in this. I don't poo-poo this like a lot of people. I think it is, I think the idea can work, but I don't know if the games are going to be good enough. And I think the hardware unit is way too fucking expensive. But what they're going for, which is a incredibly simple plug and play console that the games are easy and family friendly, and they're not, they're just, it's like the Wii, man. It's totally like the Wii, which no one has that market right now. So, we'll see what happens. But that's the news. I was going to, this just happened. This tweet came out earlier today, but before we went live, I was going to say it, canceling their Kickstarter thing, it looks like they're dead. But then this suddenly drops, and maybe not, man. I mean, let's put it this way. If this goddamn thing comes out at all, it'll be a fucking miracle. If this fucking thing comes out and it's a success, the stories that will be written and told, it reminds me, and this is the problem, by the way. I remember being in therapy when I was in Foster City, and I was working on a game called Dark Guns. And it was a shooter, and it was in 3 years in development. It was a nightmare. It was a disaster. It wasn't going anywhere. And it was such a clusterfuck of a production. And I remember reading an article on Spielberg and Jaws, and just what an absolute disaster Jaws was, and in terms of shooting it and everything. And it went on to become the best-selling movie, most lucrative movie of all time at the time, which I think was 75 until Star Wars came along in 77. And I think anybody who's fighting an uphill battle, you kind of look at those success stories and you go, that could be us. If you're at Amico right now, if you're Tommy right now, I'm sure you kind of look at it and go, yeah, but I'm going to keep swinging. I'm only going to go down, or I'm going to stop swinging if I go down, I get knocked out. Because if we can see the light of day and get through the tunnel, we could have something, right? And it's true. Who's to tell the guy he doesn't deserve a chance to try? But from the outside looking in, it absolutely looks like this thing's kind of living on its last days. But maybe this mystery investor is the real deal. We will see. Okay, let's talk about Phil Spencer real quick. This I thought was a pretty interesting Yeah, what if Tencent is the new investor? Wiki says it's Saudi Arabia. Tommy Tallarico, if you're watching and you sold your fucking soul to Tencent, shame on you, sir. Earthworm Jim is their only worthwhile title from the looks of it, says Jeeves. Again, if you are a gamer, I would understand why you say that. But if you watch a video they put out talking about the Amico, about Crayola, the Crayola Museum or something where they brought it, it shows very much the vision Tommy has. Now, it's edited within an inch of its life. It's meant to sell a message, and it does that. But you see a lot of people, playing it and really connecting with it, and families and all ages, and it definitely, that vision is very solidified in that video. So I do think there's a market for it, but the price is too much. I want to say it's $299 or $350, or it's ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. Zaf says a lot of the titles on Amico, I don't know if they are mobile games, but they are like mobile games. Absolutely. They're nothing that's going to excite people who get excited about what Game of the Year 2022 is going to be. It's of course, that's not what it's meant to do. But to be fair, Wii Bowling or Wii Sports didn't excite me. There was a game on the Wii called Carnival Games that sold millions and millions and millions of copies and was perpetually in the top 20 sales for Wii. And I was like, and I bought it, and I was like, this is terrible. But, right place, right time, right hardware, and, it totally did amazing. Totally did amazing. Zaf says it's been confirmed that many of them are mobile games. I'm sure there are mobile games, but what Tommy has been saying, if you're not looking at the screen, these are some of their originals launching, is that a lot of them are original. Moon Patrol, Finnegan Fox, Biplanes, Brain Duel, Evil Knievel, all that. But if they are going to bring software from somewhere else, it has to have something that speaks specifically to the Amico. But I don't know. I mean, I haven't talked to Tommy since I got off the phone with him a few days after I left his office ages ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago. So you're saying Finnegan Fox is a mobile game? Finnegan Fox may be a mobile game, but I think the version on Intellivision, at least if what Tommy said is true, and I'm just going off that, it has to have something that makes it pretty unique. Are kids these days really going to ask for something like this for Christmas, says Eternal? I don't think you're thinking about it the way Tommy is. It doesn't mean you're wrong, but he's not thinking that the kid who wants a Switch or an iPad is going to want this. He's thinking that the mom goes to Walmart or Bed Bath & Beyond or watches the Ellen show, and they're like, oh, this is something everyone can play. Me and Dad can play with the kids, and it's all E-rated titles, and it's, it's all family friendly. It's all couch co-op. They don't have to go out to the internet and be, preyed on by internet evil. I mean, it's a very middle of America sales pitch. And there's a lot of people in middle America. And in that, I don't think he is absolutely wrong. But I also think that, I don't know if there's enough people, assuming they even ship the goddamn thing, to make it go. But we'll find out. Yeah, well, as for hardcore, Trip says only hardcore collectors want this. Hey, either way, we're fast approaching the day where there are very few physical games to buy. I'm not a collector of games, but if I was investing, you goddamn right, I would buy every one of these games right now because they are available right now, even though the hardware is not. So imagine having the complete set of Amico games physical in 20 years that you can sell. I mean, you'd probably make a shit ton of money. I don't, GameVet says, hello, Jaffe, we meet again. I don't know who you are. So do we meet again? Have we met before? Isn't that terrible? People are saying Finnegan Fox is an HD re-release of Fox and Forest. It looks nothing besides the graphics have changed. Yeah, I mean, so it's the graphics. I mean, I'm not, whatever. I'm just saying that, you know, if they've changed the graphics, then maybe that's what's changed. I don't fucking know. I don't really care. I mean, ultimately, I don't really care. I care about, I think the vision's interesting. Is it going to work? I don't fucking know. Is it going to ship? Probably not. Okay, let's move on, though. Let's talk about Phil Spencer and what he said when he got his Lifetime Achievement Award. I do want to say one more Amico thing. Real quick. So, Tommy's talked about this. There are a number of deficiencies in the Amico plan. One of them is, I think, Tommy's nostalgia goggles about not just the Intellivision, but that era of gaming. So when I was a kid, box art looked like this. It was all hand painted. It was done with markers. It was done with oil paint. It was, we loved it. And here's the Atari. Here's a bunch of Atari boxes on your screen that really capture that time. But I think even this, though, I think the boxes, you know, time has moved on. And even though I look at these boxes and go, oh, that tickles a nostalgic itch, I go, you know, the audience has moved on from this. And, you know, just like movie posters, the people coming up today aren't going to be looking back at Drew Struzman's movie posters and saying, oh, I wished that would come back. They're just used to the Photoshop stuff. So I think that just kind of, it's a reflection of, I think, of maybe the misplacement Tommy is put, or the misplaced faith Tommy is putting in. He's allowing, I think, his read of the market to be a little bit colored inappropriately by nostalgia. And I think that is a kind of a problem. Okay, let's move on. Phil Spencer. Finally to Phil Spencer and toxic gamers and all this shit. So Phil Spencer gets his what do you call it? The Lifetime Achievement Award at DICE last week. And here's what he says when he's on stage. I'm going to read you the quote. This is from GameSpot, who's talking to IGN. Or Spencer's talking to IGN. It's reported by GameSpot. He says, and the other thing I would say is let's respect creators. I think it's very often that creations can be kind of weaponized and used in battles between platforms and other things. I look at everybody who is brave enough to create something, put it out, have their peers, the industry players, play and analyze and talk about what they do. And let's just celebrate the fact that so many great games are coming out from so many creators and realize that's such a foundation for where this industry is going to go. Now, this is a cheap applause line, of course. I'm not saying he doesn't believe it, but you know, it's you're talking to you're preaching to the choir. It's an audience of developers, so of course they're going to love that, right? But I'll tell you, it hasn't gone down, at least in the comment sections, incredibly well. It hasn't totally gone down terribly well with me, because I've kind of been on both sides of it. You know, I understand his point. You know, the gamers out there that dox people, that threaten people's lives. Like Phil Spencer was literally getting death threats because people said, if you put Call of Duty only on Xbox, we're going to kill you. I don't know the exact verbiage, but that was the gist of it. And so, you know, it's kind of like there's no room for people like that. Fuck people like that. They're cancer and they need to be weeded out and put into therapy and made healthy. But I you know, and you know, the people who are online that are just trolling and being stupid, whatever. They're trolling and being stupid. But to say, if you look at some of these, this is the GameSpot comment section. I don't agree with this guy. This guy's full of shit. Thantos 2 cases. Sure, developers also need to keep their politics off Twitter and not attack their customers. Well, they can be political as they want, motherfucker. I don't agree with that. And some people agree with Phil. This guy is saying it's not going to happen. Gamers are intrinsically immature, lacking emotional intelligence. But some people do have some really good points, which is like a lot of these game companies release games that are buggy, they're unfinished. They don't have the features that were promised. And a customer has a right to stand up and say, go fuck yourself. If these companies want to have a connection on Twitter, or whatever, TikTok, Instagram, to reach out and have fans reach out, then you're going to get the same kind of complaints you get at customer service at a retail job, which is, hey, I'm not happy with my buying experience. And I think it's kind of, I don't like the narrative. I see it parroted back from time to time, once or twice a week on Twitter, of like, well, I support the devs. And I just always like, so I'm not going to do that because I want to support the devs. And I'm just like, why? Right? And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I understand your heart's in the right place if you're saying you're making buying decisions to support the devs. But that's not really your job. The industry's job is to support the devs. If the business model doesn't support the devs, then the business model doesn't work. If the business model doesn't allow the devs to make enough to keep making games if they have a successful game, then the business model doesn't work. Game customers should only be focused on getting the best deals they can and getting the best games they can. And I've said this when I was developing games. I don't want their fucking pity, right? I don't mean that like I'm being a dick, but it's like I don't need the gamer to look out for my best interest. If I've taken a job at a place that crunches, that's my problem. That's not the gamer's problem. Buy it or don't buy it. But I think it's important to kind of make sure the narrative of like, yes, like it just feels so. It feels like so many of these people want a job in the industry is really what it feels like. It's like one guy wrote. Here's what he wrote. Pyrosa wrote, absolutely true. Here's a tip. Number 1, download Unity. The base version is free. True. Number 2, go through any tutorial, 2D platformer, 2D roguelike, 3D, you name it. Number 3, now try to make a polished, finished game and at least research what it takes to ship one and earn one sale. Number 4, then you can complain to devs. My answer to this is go fuck yourself, Pyrosa. That is absolutely not accurate. It's not the customer's job to give a fuck about the developer. Do you give a fuck when you buy a car and it breaks down a lot? You curse Ford or Toyota or Tesla. And it is your right to be like, well, it's hard to make a car. Yeah, it's hard to make a game. That's why these guys make a shit ton of fucking money. I just, and again, I can only assume these are people who want to make games. The fact that he knows the base version is free, the fact that he knows what the tutorials are, he's kind of coming at it from a perspective of clearly wanting to be one of those folks. Tripp says, if you're not an Olympic figure skater, then you can't judge Olympic figure skating. Well, I think if you're actually saying judge it like, thank you, Rob the Mod, I appreciate it, buddy. If you're actually one of those people holding up the 9s and 10s and 8s, I think that's true. But I think you can watch it and either say I enjoy it or not. Nolan Bushnell was a great businessman, says Magic Circle. People like Nolan and Steve Jobs who are willing to cut through people, bring nice brands around. Sure. I mean, I that's not always the case, but that's certainly, if you're so myopic that you don't care who you hurt, and all you care about is the product working, then sure, that's a benefit. But you are kind of an asshole, for sure. So that was Phil. Now let me tell you this other person. This is staying with the toxic fans. This is a guy, Six String Psycho, who I think has been on the chat before. But he writes me on the YouTube. He says, oh, I get it. I think he was talking about my Elden Ring video that went up recently. You take the newest topics in gaming. This is still kind of staying in the realm of toxic fans and just fandom in games and in general. You take the newest topics in gaming and take contrarian stances to draw outrage and thus garner what publicity you still can given that you don't make games anymore. Personally, I'd be unsatisfied with such an unfulfilling lot, but whatever puts food on the table, I guess. Now, the issue I take with this, the reason I bring it up is, This is a comment that was on a video. Sorry, I was looking at the chat. This is a comment that was on a video about me saying, maybe I was talking about the graphics on Elden Ring. And in that video, I was saying, you know, I love Elden Ring. It's one of my favorite games of the year. It may be one of my favorite games of all time. I think the pop-in is distracting, and I think the graphics are fine. But comparatively speaking to other games that are open world on next-gen hardware, it's not a looker. And the issue I take is that it's like, if that's a contrarian stance to draw outrage, then think about the quality of humans we're dealing with that get outraged by what I just said. What it sounds like a lot of these fans and games are saying. Yeah, you can call Ian on Discord, of course. What it sounds like a lot of these people in these fandoms and games are saying is, and it might be a generational thing where everyone gets a trophy. I don't fucking know, but it's like, you only can say nice things. You only can be crazy hyped, or you are a hater. And I'm kind of like, I'm super confused by this. Like, is it something that the younger generation is told? And again, I'm not mocking the younger generation. I mean, it's a different generation. The younger people have dealt, like I've said before, with terrorism and pandemic and school shootings and all kinds of things that maybe the way they have learned to view the world out of necessity is very different than a kid from the 80s. But it does feel like Jaffe is saying, so many fans take any critique that isn't praise as you being a hater. Now, I've hated on some games before, for sure. But I'm like, I'm not hating on Elden Ring. I've played that game so far in the last 12 months more than any other game I've played. I think. Maybe Bloodborne more. And I'm like, why can't we discuss these things? Like, why are fans like this? Are you like this? Are you someone who saw my video or over the past has seen my video and thought that because I have a critique of something that you like you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when I was a kid and I was absolutely in the cult of Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. And anyone who said anything wrong, if Roger Ebert came out with a review of Temple of Doom and said it was cool, but it was kind of disappointing, I hated him, right? But I was like 14 and I was fucked up and I needed years of therapy to get my shit together. Maybe these are 14-year-olds. Maybe these are kids that are fucked up, and to them, these games represent something that if anybody knocks them down, they're not really knocking down just some product. They're picking apart sort of a structure that holds them up. Morgan says, if you made an actual critique and put the video out instead of a comedic take on Elden Ring's graphics, maybe you wouldn't get those responses. Well, there were two critiques, Morgan. I don't know which one this person was responding to. The first one, though, was me talking about the game not meriting a 97. And not because it's not a 97 game, but I was specifically talking about the reviewers who give those scores seem really inconsistent in their criteria. That's why the reviews that put it in a 97, it's not a 97. Those reviews. My review might be a 97. It might be a 98. I love the game. And then the joke, if you're so thin-skinned that I'm sitting there playing Elden Ring, I'm clearly leveled up a little bit in Elden Ring. I'm clearly like Elden Ring a lot. If you think me joking around because I faked getting a call from my eye doctor and I was asking him how to fix my eyes because Elden Ring looks like shit, if you literally are so sensitive that you think that that's beyond the pale, and that could you not tell it was a joke? Could you not tell I was taking the piss? I was just having fun with it at that point. I wasn't actually, I need to call my eye doctor because this shit, I mean, come on. Come on, what's wrong with people? Morgan says the review video was one thing, it made sense, but the joke one is will draw derision. Why? Why can't you go, oh, that fucking Jaffe, you prick. All right, Jaffe, well, I think leprechauns live in your beard, you fucking pot-smoking fuck. And I'd go, yeah, good one. And we move on with our lives. I don't get it. The internet, says Jon Snow, made criticism so easy to hear, see, read people overreact. You know what the internet reminds me of? Remember that movie, What Women Want, with Mel Gibson, where at first he was like, this is great. He was like this chauvinistic dude. And he could hear what women thought. And so at first he's like, this is great. I can totally know how to have better sex with them, how to get them in bed, what to say, what they think, blah, blah, blah. And then over time, it became a nightmare. I think the internet comment sections are like that. It's like you're really not meant to see these thoughts. You're not meant to see them. They're not ready for prime time. They're not thought through, or if they are thought through, they're just fucking mean spirited. But that's on me. I mean, that's not going away. That's not going away. I don't think people understand nuance anymore, says Wiki. They'll even look at your facial expressions and still not be able to know what you're saying. I think so. Anonymity ruined the internet, says Top Gun. I don't know if if the internet existed without anonymity, but I agree it's a problem. I would pay a premium for parts of the internet that you could only be on if we knew who you were. Bacon says, Jaffe, if you want quality graphics better than Elden Ring, there's a game called BB and Tina. It also lets you ride on a horse just like in Elden Ring. I understand. If you had to choose to make the best game ever at the detriment of a team who hates to work together, oh, you mean God of War? Would you choose that, or a team with a great morale who loves to work together and makes bad games? Oh, I've been on both teams, and I would choose the one that hates working together, because the end result, we're there for the player. We're not there to have a good time being pals. It's nice when that happens. But yeah, I don't know, man. I wish these guys and girls on the internet would be a little bit more, a little bit less primary school in their conversational abilities. Morgan says, but the thing is, I'd prefer an actual graphical critique video. I think Elden Ring is amazing, but it's high time they started moving on to the end of the PS4, early PS5 generation. Well, then you should make that video. I'm not the guy to give you a graphical critique video. I'm just telling you, I don't think it looks that great. I don't think it looks like a shit game. It's clearly a competent game. And it's a brilliant game. It's one of the best games I've ever played, I think. I think that's where I'm going to end up with it. But ultimately, though, it's not the prettiest game on the block. It isn't. You don't, I mean, objectively speaking, it was a game that started life on last gen. They ported it to this gen. They even are on record as saying when they saw Demon Souls, they realized that the Demon Souls remake, they realized we have to up our game because our graphics aren't as good. It's just nothing to be ashamed of. It's not the best looking game in the world, to most people, especially compared to Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, especially compared to Forza Horizon 5, especially compared to fucking Horizon Forbidden West. Come on now. What's the matter with you? Doesn't mean it's not an amazing achievement. Let's put it this way, I'm playing Elden Ring, I'm not playing Horizon Forbidden West, because I think it's a better game. Caveman says Jaffe's videos routinely have puppets and him putting food on his face. What makes anyone think they're going to get a super serious review video? Well, yeah. I missed that. I want to go back to that chat from shit. I'll remember it. Mo says, I'm a huge FromSoft fan, but I had people saying the camera in Dark Souls 1 is great. It's a cult you can't criticize. Yeah, motherfucker, I was there when they dropped, what was their first PS1 game before Miyazaki even worked there? Dungeon crawler, super fucking slow, opens in catacombs, you're killing skeletons. Kingsfield. I know who the company is, and I fucking agree with you. Then it's like, fuck off, you weirdos. It's like, it's a game, man. I love it. I can't criticize it. Fuck off. So this guy who had this chat up earlier, let me see if I can find it. It's from Diego. Hello, Diego. Jaffe, how can you call out nuance when you literally call people that think different from you morons? I mean, I know you talk like that and don't mean it, but other people look at it that way. Well, yeah, look, of course, it's what I'm saying, I believe. But yeah, it's silly and, I mean, come on. Like the guy says, I have puppets and I put yogurt on my face when I'm reviewing trailers, right? It's supposed to be fun, right? It's like, do I really think you're a moron if you think the graphics in Elden Ring are better than the graphics in the Horizon? Yeah, you probably are a moron. But that said, doesn't mean I don't like you. No, I don't. I don't know you. It's just hyperbole. It's just showmanship. It's just we're having a good time. It's trash talk. If you're really so goddamn pearl clutching sensitive that you can't listen to a guy on the internet that literally, as someone said, that literally has a puppet like this, that I spent an hour making the puppet, and Pturtle don't even call in anymore, right? Let me show you the Pturtle puppet, right? If I can find it, where'd it go? Let me see if is it here? Where's the Pturtle puppet? But yeah, anybody who sits around and thinks that the guy who makes this doesn't joke around on his fucking stream, I'm sorry, that's the kind of stream it is. But if that's too much for you, okay, no problem. It's probably not for you, which is totally fine. Come on now. I literally, when I'm talking to people who call in and use the puppets, I'm moving the mouse up and down and it kills my hand. That's how low rent this show is. Come on, man. Come on, Diego. Come on, pal. All right, puppet has to go away now. Oh, that's his chin. Hang on. Fandoms are always toxic, says Stonerface. Sports, games, politics, it's all about tribalism. We're still monkeys fighting at the water hall. That's terrible. It's true, though. It's terrible. Brett Moore says, but you guessed correctly that I am a moron. You, sir, are a wizard. That's right. Damn it, Jaffe, I want to argue with you tonight. Argue with me. Call in on the show. What do you want? Let's go. Get on in here. Top Gun Zero says not all fandoms are toxic. Which do you think in games are not toxic? How many times a year should you visit a dentist? 2 is what I've always done. Why? Do my teeth look bad? They might. I haven't been to the dentist in like 8 months, though. You're not calling me out, says Diego. I'm saying what other people think. I've been seeing this from you, like, you know how it is. Right. You're okay. So you're not wrong about the fact that certainly if you come to me fresh and you see it, you could be forgiven for mistaking my shtick for being a real mean human. But at that point, you have to ask, who would really think someone's a moron for not agreeing with their video game opinion? I guess people like that exist, but Jesus Christ. I can't think of a non-toxic fandom, says Brent Moore. Yeah. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I got a wheel spin to give away. Yeah, John says, I know it's in good fun, but some people take everything seriously. Then I don't know what to do. I just have to just live with it, I guess. Jaffe, I love your puppets like the Star Wars fans love animatronics over CG. They're wonderful puppets. They're wonderful puppets. You're not a moron if you disagree with my video game opinion, but you do need to get good. You're not a moron if you disagree with my video game opinion, but you are a moron if you think my video game opinion is serious where I'm calling you a moron. So, yeah, Metroid fans are reasonable. I don't think so. Yeah, Wiki says, I don't understand how someone can't understand you're being comedic, or at least trying to be. The next generation is screwed. You want a puff of the pipe? You gotta be a member, Legionnaire. Only members get puffs of the pipe. So who am I spinning the wheel for? And then is there anybody that wants to play Mario Kart? 1 round only. It's not going to be the whole show. And again, GamingVet, if you want to call in, call in. I'll talk to you. What do you want to talk about? But is there anybody who wants to do Mario Kart to win the Rotten Tanuki prize box? There's a Day 1 Patch Kid t-shirt. There's a mug. There's stickers. There's magnets. It's a really, really good prize pack that we will send out a week from today, next Wednesday. Not SNES, Switch. Okay, this is a spin, though. This is a spin that is going out to Brett. Brett Moore. This is for you, baby. This is for you being a member at Gabbin' in the Games. Let's see what you get. Well, yeah, GameVet, call. Don't fucking threaten to call and be a pussy. Get on the fucking phone, motherfucker. Yeah, Family Guy Dog says, wasn't your original point about Elden Ring supposed to be more of a statement about journalists than the game? Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, that was the funny part anyway, but people just see the headline, you know. Jaffe, a year ago or so, you had more creative acts for celebrating new members. I would be one of those if I would want one of those if I became a member. It's yeah. I mean, you're getting a wheel spin. What do you want, baby? Honestly, the problem with that is it stops the show, and I always have to put it towards the back. But you can. I don't care if you use drive assist. Whatever. Mike Warner, hey buddy, thanks for the super chat. He says, when is the next unicorn pudding? Oh, hang on. Okay, when is the next unicorn pudding video coming, bro? Recreate Wukong review, but it's Elden Ring. Oh, yeah, I should try that. I'll do something. I like the pudding. It was fun. And I smelled great for a long time. The Diet Coke fart thing. So, Bukaki, I was on the phone and I was on email with Streamlabs for probably 3 days. And finally they said, we don't know why you're not getting your gifts when people join. All that exists and that should be popping. But it doesn't pop right now. And they don't know why, but those are waiting. I miss those as well. Those should be coming back very, very soon, but I'm waiting for them to get back to me. Okay, this is a wheel spin for where'd he go? Who's getting this one? This is a wheel spin for Brett Moore. Here we go, buddy. Let's see what you're gonna get. But if you live outside of America, I'm not shipping you anything because it's too expensive. Here we go. Hey, you get to smell my comics. Come on now. Come on now. Some people are watching. There's really good prizes on this wheel. This one, meh. All right, let's see. I don't even know which one you're going to get. Let's see. I'm going to go deep into the pile, baby. Deep into the anus of the comic book jungle. Oh, look at that. All right, well, that's not bad. Look at that. You're going to get let me go big screen here. You're going to sniff Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, issue number 1, and it's in 3D. Look at her. Look at her looking at you like, woohoo, you gonna sniff me, baby. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna open. Well, you can't really see much because it's in 3D. I'll let you. Here you go. There you go. Let me get you a good one of Sheena, the Queen of the Jungle. So at least, you know what? I'm gonna give you another one. I'll let you sniff Sheena, but you can't see her. You can't see her there. I mean, can you see that? Hang on. Yeah, you can see it. All right, take a good sniff of Sheena, buddy. Here we go. What part do you want to sniff? That's the question. Don't make me wait too long, because but I want to know which part of Sheena. Oh, you can sniff the cover. That counts. It's not Marvel. Which part do you want to sniff? Hello, Shadowrun. Yeah, Addy Pie. It's fucking great, man. It's fucking awesome. Cyberpunk. All right, I'll give you 10 seconds. Otherwise, I'm going to force a sniff on you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9.5, 9.55. Her parrot. You want to sniff her parrot? You got it, pal. Oh, wait, parrot. Sorry, here you go. Caw, caw, caw. There you go, baby. Welcome to Diet Soda Soldiers. And just to be sure, if you didn't get one before, there's a hit of the pipe. A lot of love put in there. Sam Myers, I have been to Nashville a handful of times back when I lived in Alabama. Have you an opinion on the Twisted Metal TV show being turned into a comedy? I don't think it's really a comedy. My understanding, and I don't think PlayStation Productions would get upset with me sharing this, because this is not in, I asked them that. I said, some of the press is calling it a comedy. Do you guys think of it as a comedy? And he says, it's a comedy in the way that, fuck you, Legionnaire, he snuck a puff. It's a comedy in the way that Deadpool or Peacemaker or, and I said like Zombieland. And Deadpool and Zombieland are both from the people who are making this. So if you call those comedies, I guess, but it's not a comedy like Friends. Can you imagine? It's not that. So I think I don't think they would mind me explaining it a little bit more, but that's all I can say. But I think I saw that too on The Verge when they called it comedies. It's a comedy and it's 30 minutes. I'm like, is this a sitcom? What is this? But no, that's not what they're saying. Yeah, Magic Circle, Deadpool's one of my favorites. I like the sense of humor. Bacon Magma says it's Peacemaker and Death Race combined. I haven't read the scripts yet, and I'm not going to tell you even if I have and what they say, but hopefully they said the scripts are going great. They're happy with them. So hopefully I get to read them soon. BB says, Jaffe, did you like Peacemaker with John Cena? I've only seen the first episode, and I liked it. I loved the Suicide Squad. I liked the first episode. It seemed a little forced. Thank you, RPG, for getting rid of that. But I know it gets better, so I just need to make the time. But right now, most of my TV watching, believe it or not, is going for the Good Doctor, which me and the family are watching, and it's super generic, but it's really fucking good. Okay, so I guess GamerVet's too much of a coward to call in. It happens. They talk big on text and they can't really deliver. It happens. Yeah, Twisted Metal Black sitcom at the Blackfield Asylum. Can you imagine? That'd be amazing. Yeah, Brett Moore, I'm a huge Good Doctor fan now. Have I heard about Capcom's terms for their new esports programs to control, regulate privately run tournaments? I have. I was going to talk about it today, but I figured there wouldn't be much interest. The high concept of it, though, if you are interested, is Capcom is kind of circling the wagons legally and saying, if you are going to hold any Street Fighter specifically, but I'm assuming it applies to everything, if you are going to hold a tournament, there are now these rules. And unless you're having a tournament with 10 of your friends in your home, they are within their right. You can't charge people to come in. You can't advertise it. You can't sell Street Fighter gear. They have limits on how much the prize pool can be, and they have limits on how much the organizer of the tournament can step in and say this is how much they can make in a 12-month period. And there's a good way and a bad way to look at it. The good way of looking at it is maybe that they are going to get a lot more serious about it with Street Fighter 6 coming out, maybe with Sony buying Evo, maybe it's got to be a little bit more on the up and up, and they want to have it more quality, or maybe they're just being, fuck you, it's our brand. I mean, there's a whole write-up that you can find from a lawyer who wrote about it, who's actually written contracts like this before, and he's kind of going over the pros and cons of it. But basically, it's going to get more corporate, unless you're just really playing in the back of a video game store with like a handful of your buddies and stuff. So Greek says, as part of the fighting game community myself, it's caused quite the outrage, but it's still early. Capcom has already come back on it a bit. Yeah, I mean, I understand. And there are some problems. Like if you've got a serious person who is making lots of tournaments, not just Street Fighter, but various fighting games over the course of a year, it seems weird that Capcom would come in and say, you can only make 20K. if your tournament is this big. It's like, fuck you, motherfucker. But again, maybe they're thinking, look, the big tournaments go to us. We don't want you monetizing this outside of a little bit of pocket change. I don't know. Mike Warner says, if Jaffe's not involved with the Twisted Metal reboot, I will not buy. Well, then prepare not to buy it, because unless something changes, I don't know anything about it. I know a lot more about the Twisted Metal TV show. Oh, look at this. Somebody says, do you like, Master Million says, Jaffe, you like Dum Dums. You goddamn right. I got a whole, look at this. I had a cotton candy one. That's my favorite. And then I had a bubble gum one. I love Dum Dums. I love them. Especially when they comment on my YouTube videos. That was a Brendan Fraser clap. If Jaffe was involved, says Eric, he wouldn't tell us. I wouldn't, because telling you would suggest that it's happening. And I don't know anything about it. But, you know. All right, here's GamerVet. He was in the chat, then he disappeared. What a coward. GamerVet, come on, baby. All right, while we're waiting for GamerVet, is anybody going to play Mario Kart? Does anybody want to go into a game of Mario Kart and try to win the Rotten Tanuki Care Package? This is what I want to know. Who buys my candy? I have a wonderfully gifted, talented assistant named Jill, who is a personal assistant, and she went to the store today, and she buys the groceries. I haven't been to the grocery store in ages since she started working with us. She's phenomenal, but she buys the candy. GamerVet, put yourself back in. You don't need to call me. Literally put yourself in the call-in waiting room, and I'll bring you on. Earl in the Discord says, Papa Jaffe, I was wondering if you could go into Calvin's room and do a gay impression. I actually could, but what's funny about it is that Calvin and a lot of his LGBT friends, they're always doing sort of, you know, that kind of impression and stuff, and calling each other the F word and the gay word. But I think it's kind of like, you know, when black folks use the N word, it's like, it's a way to take it back, and it's a way to sort of build a sense of solidarity and strength. But I would never, you know, I did a gay voice when I was like a, you know, junior high kid, and I thought it was funny. But now I'm like, I'd never do that now. I didn't realize it was hurtful, but you know, you learn. Do I remember trick-or-treating? Fuck yeah, I remember trick-or-treating. My dad died on Halloween, and a lot of people said, you know, oh, it's going to ruin Halloween for you. But my dad was so supportive, and he would always, forever, Bukagi, fuck you. He says, I thought you were always doing the gay voice. You're going to hell, you piece of shit. Send me a link of your band, you moron. But anyway, so yeah, he was such a fan of Halloween in terms of with his kids and taking us out trick-or-treating and all this shit, that it actually, I if he's going to pick a day to die, which he didn't pick it, of course, I like that it was on Halloween, because it's just another reminder of what a great dad he was. Jaffe improvised some new lore for Twisted Metal on the spot. Make it canon, says Touchy Touchy. All right, give me a second. All right, so I got nobody who says they want to play Mario Kart Racing. How is that possible? How do you guys not want to compete in Mario Kart to win shit? What's the matter with you? Okay. Here's some lore. I'll make up on the spot. Okay. Yeah, I'll PvP in Elden Ring. Just, if anybody wants, what do you want to play that we can... Okay, Mario, Spazbo's getting on. There you go. Okay, good. We'll do Mario Kart. It's easier. I'll make up some lore later. I don't fucking know. All right, Gaming Vet, here's your last chance. Wait, why is he? Wait, that's Bukaki up there. Oh, there it is by Quitter. Okay, cool. I will play that next time. Gaming Vet, this is your last chance, baby. I'm going to talk to the chat for a few minutes, and we're off calls for tonight. So if you want to call in, now's the time. I stream Elden Ring. I might stream it tonight. It depends. No one wants to talk about Stevivore. The review thing, I don't know enough about it. Hang on. Here's Gaming Vet. He shows up finally. Hang on. Well, you're not a coward. You actually showed up. What do you want to talk about, pal?
I'm a coward.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
Now I can hear you. What's up?
That's better now.
What's up?
Just call. Yeah, you gave me less reason to argue with you now.
What did you want to argue about? What did you want to argue about?
Well, you said something earlier, but like I said, you gave me less issue to do that at this point.
What was it? I'm curious though. What was it that I said?
I can't even remember. It was something else earlier. I lost track of it.
Okay.
The question I did. Damn, this is weird talking to you.
Why?
Holy shit, I've been a big fan for a long time.
Oh Jesus! Fuck off.
Older, yeah.
Let me put your
my daughter's watching right now.
Put your wife on the fucking phone. I want to talk to your wife.
You want to talk to my wife?
Yeah, she's
that's not gonna happen.
She's married. She's married below her punching ability. If you're too scared to talk to me, come on, man. All right, what's up? What do you want to talk about?
No, I was actually had a question about like older gamers.
Okay.
Your issue with like all right, it's just playing certain games. Like you were talking about, like like Dark Souls or any like harder games that are like more modern. I mean, what's the deal with that? Specifically, like, do you have a problem with it because the skill level is too high because you're older?
Wait, start again. I don't necessarily understand what you're asking. Do I have a problem with what?
Like, all right. What's modern games like Dark Souls games?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, like Souls type games, harder games, difficult games.
Okay.
They're more modern. We dealt with those because I'm 45 years old. I can't remember how old you are, Jaffe.
I'm 50.
Yeah. All right. So you're 5 years older. All right.
Yep.
So like specifically because you played harder games in the past, or more difficult games in the past.
I mean, like what? I'm not a big hard gamer guy. I don't seek out challenge in games. So I only go ahead.
But those games were more difficult in the past.
Like what?
The majority of people couldn't even finish fucking Mario 1 back in the day.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, when I was like 16 years old and I had nothing to do, yeah, I finished that. I finished Contra. But I mean, I had nothing to compare it against. But
exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, but compared to what we have now, is like those. I mean, difficulty wise, it's not. I just don't think it's. I think it's comparable.
Okay, so you're saying
for us older gamers that or even newer gamers that bitch about like games having this high difficulty curve. Like I think the question I'm asking is, you think it's due to age, or do you just think it's just due to like, I don't know what the gap is.
Okay, so I think age is certainly a part of it, and it doesn't just mean because your reflexes slow down, which of course they do. I've absolutely noticed that, but it's also time. You know, it's where when you're a college kid or you don't have a job or whatever, or you're a 10-year-old on summer vacation, you can spend all of this time playing games. But when you've got other things to do and other things that you want to do, not just that you have to do, the payoff isn't really there. It doesn't mean a lot that you beat a hard game. One of the reasons I finally fell in love and found a way in to Bloodborne was because I was playing it with the chat, and I've said this a couple times before, where they explained to me, because that game does a piss poor job of onboarding and telling people how to level up. And once I realized I don't have to, quote, get good with my reflexes, which I will never do because I'm 50, but I could get good by farming and building my character and putting my stats in strategic places and playing it more like an RPG, then I was like, oh my God, I fucking love these games now. And that's why I'm loving Elden Ring. So in that case, what's cool about those games is it does give you an easy mode or a mode that allows you to play the way that you're more comfortable playing. But if somebody's like, hey man, play Sifu. Sifu just announced today, which is great news. They sold 1 million copies, which for an indie game is pretty fucking rare. They sold 1 million copies, but I probably won't enjoy that game because the number one thing people talk about when they talk about that game is it's really fucking hard. I don't put any pride in winning a hard game. A lot of gamers do, and that's fine. And I'll watch somebody play a game, like I'll watch Spasbo play a game, or I'll watch Evo, and I'll go, holy shit, that's amazing. But I don't walk around going, I don't feel a sense of pride when I beat a game. I'm probably too old for it, or
I'm over that shit.
Yeah,
it's like shit.
Here's when I got over that shit. There was a girl, I'll just give you her first name. Her name was Trisha. And I had a raging crush on this girl in middle school. And we were all in the band together. And this is, I was a band geek because what I'm about to tell you. And so we went out to a pizza place after every game, the whole band, called Mr. Gaddy's. And I couldn't get her to pay attention to me. I couldn't get her to like me. I mean, she liked me, but I couldn't get her to like me. She was into this guy named Jim. Fucking Jim. Fucking motherfucker. Fuck Jim. But anyway, so I got it in my mind that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the Ghost and Goblins machine and I'm going to beat it. And that's going to make Trisha be impressed. She didn't give a good goddamn... She didn't know what Ghost and Goblins were. She's like, is that a new sex position? She didn't fucking give a fuck. And the minute that happened, I was like, being good at video games is a personal thing. I don't take any pride from the goddamn thing. It's just, did you have fun? That's all that matters. So, all right, man. Thank you for calling. I'm so sorry you were nervous. You never have to be nervous, GamerVet. Call in any time. It's good to talk to you.
Oh no, I was never nervous.
Oh, good.
It was just weird. Like actually, like I said, I've always been a huge fan, man.
Oh well, I'm a fucking weird. I'm a weirdo.
I introduced to my kids, and my daughters love your game. So
that's
weird.
nice.
Talking to me.
Well, your daughter's watching with you right now?
I appreciate it more than you. I appreciated it very much that you actually picked up the call.
Of course. Have a good rest of your night. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, man. There he goes, fellas. All right. Brett says, I love Sifu and it's hard, but once you get the dodge mechanic, it clicked. Yeah, I mean, I might play it just to see what the brouhaha is. Gavin ain't work, Jaffe says Joker. Jim had those strong hands. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He was a little dude, too. He was kind of little dude. God. She don't know what she missed. She's like, yeah, I do. I'm watching you right now, Jaffe. I know exactly what I missed. I dodged a fucking bullet, and its name was Jaffe. All right, here we go. Right now I got Spaz and Legends competing. I'm going to bring it up. You can see it live. Here we go. Anybody who wants in? Gravity has joined the Cult of Calypso. Thank you, buddy. See that pig dancing on the screen, or a cow, or whatever that is? That is what the problem is. That's what comes up when new members join. Cult Calypso should literally have a GIF and a audio cue of Calypso talking to the guy who joined. We're trying to fix it. But Gravity, thank you so much. Let me put some things in the pipe for you. I'm going to put a little bit of love. I'm going to put a little bit of the panties of Alloy's panties. And I'm going to put a little bit of, if you like the male folks, I'll put some Kratos underwear in there. And I'm going to put some pot in there. There you go. Smoke that shit, Gravity. And we're going to let you spin the wheel before we play some of the Mario. Okay, so this goes out to Gravity. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Because you are a Cult Calypso member, you get to spin the wheel. You spin it twice, meaning you get a second chance. So thank you, Gravity. He liked the pipe. If you spin it and you don't like what you get, you can get rid of that gift and you can spin it again, or you can stay on your spin. Here we go. This is for Gravity. Okay, well, that one doesn't count. You get to spin again anyway, so you get 3 spins. Here we go. Here's spin number 2. You may not want another one after that, though. Oh, Okay, you have won a copy of the very original God of War design document, the first thing ever written. It was called Dark Odyssey. That will go out to you in the mail if you are in America only. Otherwise, it's too expensive. Oh, you can't see the wheel. Shit, I'm sorry. There you go. Oh, yeah, here it is right here. That will go in the mail a week from today, if you want it, or you can spin the wheel again. Do you want it, and do you live in America? And if the answer is yes, we will not spin.
Hello?
Hey, Pturtle, hang on a minute. I'm going to put you on mute for a second. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
All right. What are you thinking, Gravity? You want to spin the wheel again, or you want to lock in with what you got? I live in America, and I would like the design doc. All right, perfect. So, welcome to Calypso. Head on over to the Discord or hit me up on Twitter and send me your mailing information, and it'll head out to you a week from today. Welcome, good sir. Everybody give our new members tonight an emote of your choice if you're able. All right. We are going to play Mario Kart. I don't have a lot of time to talk to Pturtle, but I'll talk to him real quick. Hang on. Pturtle, are you there?
Yeah, you hear me?
Wait, I can't hear you. Can you say something?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. What's up, man? How you been?
I've been good, man. Life is good. I can't complain.
Cool. What do you want to talk about?
Because I saw the headline, and I wanted to give my 2 cents about what Phil Spencer said.
Okay.
But
go.
I don't know what you said about it. I don't know if you're pro what he said or against, because I had to go take a shower.
Yeah, no shit. That's what I hear.
Yeah, but now, what do you believe what he said was good or bad? Do you agree with it or disapprove it?
I think that he I think what I said when we talked about it earlier just briefly is, if you're talking about people who have sent him death threats because they were saying, hey, if you take Call of Duty off PlayStation, we'll kill you, or people who dox and all that, I think they're fucking morons, like literal fucking morons. But I disagree with him in the sense that if what he is proposing is customers should not come at developers from a standpoint of making something and releasing something. Once you release it and then you charge for it, the fan has a right to have any fucking opinion they want.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. What do you think?
Oh, so that I pretty much agree, especially when you consider their flagship game, right? Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
They released a horrible game. Now, the gameplay...
You think that...
core gameplay...
All right, keep going.
Right?
Okay, yep.
But how are you going to tell people, oh, you need to be nice to the devs, you need to be nice to us, and you release a product that was in development, I believe, for like 6 years, and I know it wasn't fully in production, but in development for like 6-7 years, and then you give them 4 maps. A terrible single player is the gameplay of the single player is great. The open world is great, but it's half-baked. And you put that out there and you say, oh, you can't critique us. You got to be nice to us. Look at how you treat your flagship title. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I don't care about new games anymore, even though I did enjoy Seafood. That's the first game in a long time I actually enjoyed. But you guys deserve some criticism, and I just want to say this one thing. I believe corporations like Microsoft and Sony, I think they've become so big, and I think they know that the medium is so addictive and they have all these gamers by their balls. They're cocky. They don't care anymore. I remember when devs used to kiss the ass of gamers.
Okay.
You know? And now it's like they hate gamers. They're upfront about it. They think gamers are losers. They think they all smell or whatever. And they're just more cocky than they've ever been. And I can't believe it.
Like I said, I think that Phil Spencer was in an audience of developers and he went for the cheap applause, and he's not wrong. If somebody gave me death threats, look, I get upset when somebody watches the stream and I don't see a membership tag by their name, meaning they don't pay anything other than their time, which of course is valuable. And they come at me and say, where's the timestamps? Put timestamps up. I'm like, motherfucker.
I understand.
Well, yeah, but I'm like, yeah, but you can ask and say, hey, Jaffe, do you think the timestamps are going up soon? But you don't fucking pay me. You don't come at me and say, put the timestamps up. It's like, bitch, put your credit card up, pay me some ducats, maybe I'll think about it. But but so I understand, and that's what I get upset about. If somebody gave me death threats, like fucking Phil Spencer's getting over something stupid like he's getting, I understand.
But do you think he takes that serious? I get death threats because I'm good in video games. Who cares?
Okay. All I'm saying is I don't think death threats are appropriate, and I think Phil Spencer is right to call it out.
I'm with you, Jaffe, but let me say this. I believe that that's a tactic that a lot of these people, I know Laura Bailey uses it. I know what's the guy Neil Druckmann uses it. They go on the internet, they create products that they know is going to be divisive, or they create half-baked products, and it's a defense mechanism of, I can understand not liking this product, but death threat isn't good. They never show the death threats. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and again, it's probably like a stupid death threat that I get when I play
whatever. I don't want to debate the death threats. My point of it, though, was that ultimately I land somewhere in between. I think gamers and customers have every single right to complain. I think sometimes they take it a little too far, but you know what? That's life in the NFL. If you're going to be making hundreds of thousands, if not many millions of dollars a year as an executive with bonuses or a studio that gets acquired, then you know what? You can handle the fact that your products that cost people a great deal of money that you release when they're buggy or shitty, you're going to get some people that express it in a way that you may not like very much. But you know what? If I had saved up a lot of money to go to Paris and the Eiffel Tower was supposed to be open and the Eiffel Tower was closed for my entire visit, I don't really want to go to the Eiffel Tower, I would complain about it, and I would be annoyed about it because I had been saving for my family for 6 months to go.
100%. But would you agree with me on the fact that it seems like developers today versus when you were in your prime of making video games?
I tell you what,
would you agree that there's been it's very different in how you guys treat the customers? Very different. Where it seemed like
because
in the 90s and the early 2000s, it was about catering to the gamer. It was about pretending at least.
Because we didn't know what assholes a lot of them were. I mean, the fact of the matter is back then, our communication with the gamers went through a middleman, which was the journalist at EGM or GamePro or whatever. So of course, we put our best foot forward, and we always imagined the customer we were talking to as somebody that we wanted to be excited as we were about what we were talking about. And that still exists, and we still are. I don't anymore, but you feel that way about the customer. But you also feel, because we have Twitter and comments and YouTube and streamers and all this shit, you also feel that there's a bunch of them that are trash people, and they're assholes and they're dicks, and you can't tell which ones are trolling and you can't tell which ones are serious. So I think Phil Spencer has a point, and I think Phil Spencer is absolutely wrong.
But what is it about like American devs where like you look at the Japanese, you look at these guys, they take heat. Kojima takes heat. Miyazaki, is that how you say his name? Miyazaki. He takes heat. He's taking a lot of heat right now.
Yep.
But these guys don't act like babies.
Yeah,
mean, all these American devs, they get on there, they provoke. What's your boy's name who did the new God of War? The last one,
Corey.
He's always going on there trying to provoke something.
No, he's not. Corey Barlog hasn't been on Twitter in ages, first off.
Well, when he was always there. There's no need. It's like these guys are just purposely divisive, and they purposely like to provoke. But you look at the Japanese devs, and these guys,
cool.
Don't know what's going on.
Okay, well then, number one, then play games from devs that you think treat you nice. Number one.
I do, yeah.
And number two, it is a culture thing. I think in America, America is a more combative society. We value free speech and making a stink and making a noise and all that shit. So part of it's culture. And part of it, frankly, is that, you know, a lot of gamers who do come at people on Twitter are a bunch of fucking annoying motherfuckers. That's the goddamn honest truth.
That's life. Who cares?
I care. That's why I call them out. Here, okay, Pturtle. Here's why. When you can find it still on YouTube, and this is the last thing I'll say. I got to move on, but you can find it on YouTube. Where when I announced the music soundtrack for Twist 2012, and I said there was going to be some NWA on there, and there was going to be some rap music on there, and Mr. Grimm was a black dude. Boy, there was a small group of people who came after me and were like, this is horrible, we hate this, N-word this, N-word that. You think I give a fuck about their money? I don't want to entertain racists. So
No, but I think if you were smart, you'd realize that they're only saying that word to bother you because they know it bothers you.
great, well then mission
You
accomplished.
guys are big babies. I mean,
Okay. Fair enough. Pete Turtle, call back anytime. I got to run. I'll see you soon, buddy.
Got you, man.
All right. You too, Pete Turtle. Call back anytime. Dare I say, what do you want to talk about?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
First off, I don't know how you do it, Jaffe.
Do what?
Talk to you.
Well, the penis goes in the vagina.
It's for starters, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark. Last caller
Okay.
probably wasn't born until like '98, so his
Oh, yeah. Quite possible.
developers back in the day, it was like, dude, you weren't even alive back in the day.
Yeah, that's probably true. Okay, so
And,
what do you want to talk about? Let's go.
Well, I can't stand these people. It's like, oh, it's divisive. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Developers make what they want. If you don't want it, don't take it.
Yes.
Don't go looking for it.
Now
Don't
look,
complain about it.
here's what I will say. I will say that I think not everybody is cut out to be inundated with social media, and I think game companies could, and I don't know how all of them work, but I think some game companies could do a better job. I don't think they should limit their employees on social media, but make a, in the same way that a lot of good companies will once a year have an ergonomic specialist come around and make sure everyone's comfortable and their monitors are the right height and their seats are good. And a lot of that's to avoid a lawsuit. But I think also with social media, it's not everyone's cut out to sort of be in that type of arena. And it's really bad on your mental health. I always enjoyed it because I like shooting the shit. I mean, obviously, look what I'm doing now. I think it's fun. But I think the division part is, yeah, if you're not cut out for it, you really should curate your social media feed and not engage with any of that. What I thought was fascinating about even Miyazaki, even it wasn't social media, but he said on the focus test that they did, he never even used to look at the results. It made him too nervous. He would just let the staff look at him and then deliver to him what they felt the most important things were. It changed now, but so not everyone's cut out for that sort of fire hose of opinion. But if you're not, I think it's healthy to understand, or the company to make you understand that maybe that's not something you should be spending a lot of time on.
What I don't understand is where people get this idea that developers always have to cater to the lowest common denominator. Like, oh, if you're not catering to the masses, you're not being earnest and honest with your art.
Do you have
So
an?
they
Do
could be
you have an? Give me an
people
example.
they
Give me an
get
example
are.
of that. What's an example of that?
That's what this guy just complained about. He's like, oh, they're being divisive and like starting drama. It was like he brought up Laura Bailey. I don't like she's a voice actor. Like, you don't like her because she's what? Her voice? She's female. Like, the character she played, like, that's not her her decision at all. She just got the script, audition for it, and they're like, yeah, sure, here you go.
So you're saying people are coming after her because they don't like that she played Abby in The Last of Us 2 or something?
No, people think that every game is meant for them. If it's not meant for them, then it wasn't made honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
it was made for an alternate reason.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it is a, it's a very good point, and I agree with you. I don't know why. Maybe what you're hearing is disappointment. Like in the case of Laura Bailey in The Last of Us, maybe it was like But I love The Last of Us. Last of Us 2 didn't deliver that. Just like, you know, I can sort of understand, even though I don't agree, I love The Last of Us 2, but I can understand if you're talking about something that's already established what it is. But yeah, if you're talking about a new game or a new movie or whatever, and it's not to your liking, yeah, I agree with you. It doesn't make it bad. It just means maybe it's not for you. All right, dare I say thank you for calling. Good to hear from you for the first time. Call back anytime, sir.
Yeah.
All right, man. There he goes, fellas. All right, let me get some super chats real quick. Chris Gorley says, hey, Jaffe, are the timestamps up soon? Well, you can ask because you paid money. Anybody can ask. But the way you're asking it and the way this other guy, thank you for the super chat, Twisted Sith. Indeed, where are the timestamps, sire? I don't need to be called sire, but there's a like, oh, hey, is this happening soon? What I get a lot of lately is like, Jaffe, what the fuck? Where are the timestamps? You can't do this. What the hell? You know, and I'm just like, oh my God, fuck off. We got a big super... Now, okay, the Forgotten Dumpling. I have been trying to reach you for a long time. First off, thank you for your staggeringly generous super chat. Appreciate that, buddy. I've been trying to reach you because I don't have you on Twitter. I don't have you on Discord, and I sent out the... God of War. I know you're no longer a God of War member, but when you were a God of War member, it was in the window where I sent out God of War gifts. So I still have yours. If you want it, hit me up on Twitter, get me your address, and I will have it mailed out to you next week. Jaffe says the Forgotten Dumpling. Thank you again, sir. He says, do you ever watch Sacred Symbols? I do, very much, a lot. Colin and Dustin defended you in your tweet about killing a minority. Oh, I need to listen to that. I haven't heard that one yet. Chris Ray Gunn didn't. But he said he didn't know you. Happy to see the boys defend Papa Jaffe. Love the show. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Colin and Dustin. I don't know Chris either. But I think anybody who actually read that tweet and understood it in the context of what it was, like I had this guy Paris, and it really pissed me off, and I really struggled with whether I should respond to this guy or not. He's over on Kind of Funny. You know who he is. He's got a wonderful radio voice. His voice is awesome, and I'm always like, when I hear voice, like Bukaki's got a great radio voice. I'm always like, God, I wish I had a voice like that. And I don't know the guy. Maybe he's a great guy, but he wrote me all condescending, like that's totally inappropriate, and you should know better. And I'm like, okay, well, there's some context here. And it's okay that you don't have the context, but you have a lot of followers and you're basically publicly trying to shame me. And I'm going, look, man, I've made video games for decades and now I talk about video games. And I assure you, I'm not just mouthing off about something that's offensive. Maybe you should dig a little bit before you come at me and accuse me of being some kind of offensive racist asshole, which is clearly not what I am and not what I was doing. But you know, he got his likes, like, yeah, get him, Paris. And I'm just like, you know what, dude? like there was I had a summer school teacher once who used to say, you're on my list. And me and my friends were like, who gives a shit, motherfucker? But this Paris guy is now on my list. Doesn't mean anything, but he's on my fucking list. All right. Forgotten Dumpling, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Forgotten Dumpling has rejoined the Gods of War. Okay, thank you, buddy, but you didn't have to do that to get your gift. You would have gotten the gift anyway. But please, for the love of God, but thank you. I'm so grateful that you joined. Let me give you the pipe. Let me put a little bit of Dum Dum in there for you, and let me put some Tic Tacs, and let me put Taylor Swift, Kiss Me Once. I saved the shirt. Let me put some of that lipstick on it. And then let me put some video game love. That is for you, good sir, Forgotten Dumpling. And seriously, man, can't see it yet. Seriously, man, hit me up and I will send that to you. Thank you, buddy, for the generosity and being part of our community. No Face drops super chat. He says, Jaffe, how can I call you? I'm feeling lonely. All you got to do is put yourself in the call-in waiting room, just like good sir Cannibal Lecter. Cannibal Lecter, my hand hurts too much to do the puppet. What's up, man? Cannibal Lecter. Cannibal Lecter. Are you there? Oh, do I have you muted? Yeah. All right, hang on. Cannibal Lecter, what's up?
Hey, Jaffe. Let's talk video games.
Okay.
how are you going with the Old Hunters?
I like it, but I was very burnt out because I was playing Bloodborne nonstop for about 3 to 5 weeks, and then when Elden Ring dropped, I was just like, you know what? I'm much more interested in getting into that. Maybe I'll go back to Old Hunters, but I got to the first boss and I was starting to get the hang of it, and Spasmo was telling me, not to get so far away from him when he starts sending out those sword strikes. And so my next step was going to be to replay it and getting close. But I was just like, I want to play some Elden Ring right now. So that's where my focus is.
Cool. So I guess next one it would be Elden Ring. Hot and cold? How are you going?
I adore it. I love it. Everybody is always like knows how many hours they've spent. I don't know where you find that data. I would love to know how many hours I've been playing it, but I want to guess I've probably been playing Elden Ring for 40 hours so far, and I can't stop playing it. I think it's fucking fantastic.
That's good. Horizon? Hot and cold?
Horizon I don't love. I thought the opening was quite... Joker says no puppets. It's not cutbacks. My hand hurts because we got Pturtle, and then right after we got That's a Bingo. I'll bring him on for the finale. Come on now. But yeah, I thought the opening was slow. Once it opens up, like everybody is saying, it's excellent. In terms of the gameplay and the art. I don't like the story. I wish Aloy would shut the fuck up. I'm one of those people.
Actually, did you see that they released a patch to remove the excessive voice commentary? It's interesting. They've done that.
Oh, really? I did not know that. Okay, so but yeah, I don't like I like Ashley Birch, the actress who voices Aloy.
Oh, she's excellent.
She is, but I don't like her. I don't like her in this role. I think, and I don't think that's her. I think it's the voice director. I think every line in Horizon is, at least what I've played so far, it's like every line is like labored. It's like, hey, Aloy, would you like to stay and eat dinner? Well, I want to. It's annoying.
No, I think to really properly understand where she is at from a mind perspective, probably experience number 1 and then number 2, and she is like literally tired. She just wants to rest.
No. Listening to her voice that character in Ashley Birch in Horizon is pretty much like number 2. Absolutely, I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So, no, it is so labored. She's like so over it, and I think.
There's a point though where, as a director or writer or producer of the game, you can allow the character to express where they're at in their arc without it annoying the audience. And again, I might be in the minority, but I didn't like the storytelling. I didn't like the voice acting, but the gameplay is great. The combat's phenomenal. The art is excellent, and I may go back to it, but I really do not like the franchise.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is if you continue on, she kind of miles a little bit with the side quests. But anyway, beside the point, GT7, hot or cold?
I'm excited for fans of it because the reviews have mostly been very positive, and more importantly saying that it is a return to form after the last GT, was it GT Sport, the more multiplayer focused one, or whatever they called it. So that's good if you're a fan, but I've never been a GT guy. The GT games to me are way too simmy. So I'm excited though for people who love it, and it does look beautiful. So all right, Cannibal, good to talk to you, buddy.
No, two more things.
Jesus Christ, man, what the fuck?
No, there's 2. Ghostwire Tokyo, hot or cold?
Is that like when is this like when you have sex and it's kind of like you're like, hot or cold? What do you think? Do you like me when I touch you when I touch you there? Okay.
In and out.
Yeah. Okay. Let me one moment, sir. Hang on. Okay, so do I like Ghostwire Tokyo? I was very...
No, it's not like. It's like, how do you feel about it? Do you, as a game designer, are you interested in it, and are you, how to say, how are you approaching? Are you hot and cold? That is the main thing.
Well, listen, I can tell you about it. I was very excited about it. And then I saw the state of play, and I was like, I'm gonna wait, because it kind of almost looked like they didn't do a very good job of explaining what it is. So it kind of almost looks like that game is almost like what I'm playing right now, which is Shadow Warrior 3, which is just like walk a little bit, fight. Walk a little bit, fight. And there was no sense of puzzles or exploration or anything. And so I don't really know what it is yet, but I still like it thematically.
I think it's gonna surprise you. Now, this is the last one, and I hopefully I get the bingo part of it.
Okay.
Babylon's Fall.
Okay.
Hot or cold?
Which game?
Babylon's Fall.
Oh, I have the demo. You're talking about the platinum game.
Yeah.
Free to play. I hear the demo is great. People who have played the demo say they have converted to actually spending money in the game, which is what a great demo should do for a free to play game, I suppose. Although if it's free to play, it doesn't matter. But it is free, right? It's a service-based game.
I have no idea, and the reason that I was going to say is like it looks like it's releasing tomorrow, and I think a lot of people just forgot about it. I've heard several people talk about it and said that it is one of the worst things they ever played. So I'm interested in experiencing it. So
okay, so Spriggan in the chat says it's not free to play; it's a full AAA game, but I guess it's still a games as a service. So yeah, in that though, I hear the demo's great, but it's interesting that you've heard totally different. Yeah. As we say goodbye, good sir, hit me up where it counts on the nether regions. Go.
That's a bingo.
And
you, Jaffe.
There he goes, baby. There he goes. There goes Cannibal. Thanks for calling, buddy. Call back anytime. Okay, here's the deal. Joker says, the quality of the show has risen over 9,000 with the puppets. Blue Moon says Inglourious Basterds is my top 3. That movie is phenomenal. All of his work, like Pulp Fiction's great and all that, but I honestly think when you talk about the run of movies he did from Inglourious Basterds to Django to Hateful Eight to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I mean, that shit is just goddamn good shit. Goddamn good shit. Okay, so you know what? We've gone late. Here's what we're going to do. We will play I'll give you guys a heads up. Tomorrow's show, which I'm going to try, no guarantee, to be at 2:30, because I know a lot of the European folks always say, can you do it earlier? Friday, Monday, Wednesday, we'll keep doing it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we'll do it 5. We'll try. But tomorrow's going to be, I'm going to shoot for a 2:30 Gabbin' Games tomorrow. That is when we will do Mario Kart. So if you want to compete for the wonderful prize box from our very own Rotten Tanuki, and again, if you don't know, he has sent us Day One Patch Kids content, so you'll be able to get stickers, magnets, Twisted Metal Day One Patch Kid Toothache T-shirt, Norman Fetus coffee mug. It's a good thing. It'll be going out next week to the winner. We will be playing Mario Kart tomorrow, so you have a night to practice and prepare if I was catching you really quick. So keep that in mind. Forgotten Dumpling is a.k.a. Moneybags. God damn, sir, what do you do for a living? I want to know how much money you got to have to be able to drop ducats like that with such ease. It's like you're taking a shit, but you're not shitting, you're dropping money. I appreciate it, buddy. Here's what he says. I left a message on your Twitter as Schlutzy45. Thanks for all the content and different points of view. Let me make sure I got it. Let's see if Schlutzy's there, boys. Let me go off here so you can't see his private message, because it's called a private message. I got Ken Levine as my number one message there. Ken Levine's the last guy to talk to me. Where's my phone? Oh, it's in there. I gotta go get the phone. Did you leave it on the normal Twitter? Oh, there it is. Forgotten Dumpling. Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna follow you. And then I'm gonna send you a DM. Okay. And then basically, if you can hit me up with your address, I will get you the book, buddy. Thank you for the super chat as well. Very, very generous, fellas. Fella. Forgotten dumpling. Okay, that's it, fellas. I'm out. I appreciate all the super chats, all the new members, all the great conversation, RPG, Bukkake Drive-By, and of course, our good sir Rob the Mod for modding this motley crew of motherfuckers. Oh, I love Kill Bill too. I don't hate Kill Bill. I'm just saying that it wasn't in one of the things. Oh, he's great. But anyway, that's the show for tonight. I'll be back with some videos tomorrow. I'll certainly be back with the stream, I think, tomorrow. But the next live stream will be Mario Kart, the next live Gabbin' and Games. And then we'll give away the wonderful prize pack from our good sir Rotten Tanaki. Don't forget to go to the Leetist page if you want to contribute to the Family Feud episode that I will be on and basically be one of those people in the Survey Says system. There it is right there. I'll see you guys soon. I got to run. Thank you guys very, very much. Appreciate your time and hanging out with me. Good night, y'all.